Um, yeah, just wanted to come in and help out with um, an odd format compared to what we normally do. First off, for the Open, these are all the drivers that didn't lock themselves in to the All Star. Um, so we have everyone who hasn't won a race or wasn't in the playoffs last year. This one's pretty simple. It's 60 laps, three stages, 20 laps each, and the top two finishers in each stage will be removed and automatically transferred to the grid for the All Star race. So when those two drivers complete that stage and are removed, not to worry, you'll see them again later. They'll be going for the big money in the show later on tonight.
And it's going to be a battle for those positions, especially as we get through the stages and we see less and less transfer spots available. I think the intensity and the aggression is going to go up. Drivers are really already starting to send it in qualifying. These lap times are pretty impressive right now. Mason Lowry in that number 56 is sitting on the pole with a 29.195. About a tenth back from him, you got RJ Root in P2, Jason S. Taylor third with another 29.2. Looking back to Dalton Mobley in that number, or Mobley in that number 77, 29.285. Then a thousandth of a second back from him, just a thousandth of a second. Derek Castor in the number 42 is going to round out your top five so far. And right now, the track is probably about as warm as it's going to be tonight, as this is a event that's starting at sunset. The sun's going to go down. The track temps are going to get cooler, which I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic, Kevin. As the transfer spots start to go away and the drivers get a little bit more frantic, the track's also going to get more grip, and it's going to allow them to do more with the car that they have, which I think is going to put on quite a show.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that we're going to see early here. The track temp right now is, well, I saw, yeah, it's about 80 degrees. So they're going to be sliding a little bit. Still a cooler Texas track than we're used to when we come here for normal points races. But you're right. They're going to be a little on edge here at the beginning. But as the track cools and we wind down these laps in the open, the grip level is going to go up, the speeds are going to go up, and we're going to see some good racing, hopefully. Um, One of the differences in this race, we tried to mask what, or I should say, we tried to emulate what NASCAR did with the lower horsepower package by knocking back the engines about 5%. And I really didn't think that was going to be that much of an issue, but in practice, it ends up being 28 horsepower less than what we normally have on mile and a half tracks. It's pretty wild how big of an effect that has. We're going to see a lot of pack racing. We're going to see the draft have a huge effect, and as usual, we're going to see dirty air there in one and two have an effect on how these guys are racing. But we've got Mason Lowry and RJ Root on the front row. RJ Root's probably kicking himself a little bit. He ran at 29.23 in qualifying. He was over a tenth faster than that in practice, so he probably thought he was going to get himself on the pole here. But what about what are your early picks? Who do you think you see through making their way through to the All Star?
Well, I mean, I got to go with our pole sitter, Mason Lowry, and I'm not just saying that
Mm-hmm.
because he drives for my team. He's been pretty consistently fast, and I feel like the talk around the garage has been that a lot of people felt like Mason had this in the bag. Now, sometimes that adds a little bit of pressure. And when everyone's saying, "Oh, yep, he's the guy that's going to get it. He's going to go out here. He's going to do well," kind of adds a little bit of pressure, makes you a little more on edge. So we're going to have to see how Mason handles that. But like you said, Kevin, RJ Root is a driver to watch. He was fast in practice. He's rolling off on the front row, even though he's on the outside, and he's just been having a great season all year. He has definitely been picking up the pace as the season has gone on, made himself more of a contender as time has gone on, and he's definitely a driver that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. But of course, we're going to have more transfers than just that. Two drivers from each stage, like you said. I'm also going to be keeping an eye on Ryan Branham. He's a driver that we know he's fast. He's turned some really good lap times in the past, and he's had some races where he did a lot of running up front. Just tends to have a lot of bad luck. Gets involved in a lot of incidents, and most of which aren't his fault. And I think give him enough time, he's going to snag one of these transfer spots tonight at least. But we are rolling as the pace cars made their way off pit road, and we're going to waste no time with any extra pace laps. The lights are off, so we're going to make our way through this relatively tight 1 and 2. I know you mentioned 1 and 2 in the dirty air there, Kevin. Um, After the repave, that corner can feel a little bit tight when you come out of the corner onto the backstretch. That safer barrier is going to want to reach out and hug you. Now, luckily, this race is short enough that tire wear shouldn't come into play too much. They do have, I believe, 2 tire sets for this open event of 60 laps total. So overall, when you given the stage breaks and the amount of tires they have 2 changes. It shouldn't be too bad. I think these drivers are gonna have cars that are really underneath them all night long, and they're pretty much just gonna be going full send. Speaking of sending it, the pace car driver is gonna send it down to the left there, down pit road. Now we wait and see. Where does Mason Lowry go? Right at the beginning of pit road. Gets a good launch. He's going to leave RJ Root side by side with Jason S. Taylor in that number 37 Black Flag Motorsports machine. They're going to stay side by side as Mason Lowry continues to pull away. Behind them, we got a bit of a gaggle of cars here. Nobody really getting away from each other on this first lap. RJ Root, one of the few stuck on the high line. The bottom seemed to be preferred through 1 and 2. And look at that. Here comes Brian Branham. As the 8 car falls through the grid, Brian Branham's going to move up another spot. Going to get that overtake. It looks like it's going to be Mason Lowry leading lap 1 of the Open.
Well, you didn't ask me, but I will tell you anyways. My pick for a transfer spot is Jason S. Taylor. He's known around the motor coach lot as the opener because he tends to start races really well and not quite finish them. But as I've joked around a few times, this race is short enough. I don't think he'll have time to make a mistake. So we see him there in second place, and Dalton Mobley moving up pretty cool. Oh, no.
Round goes Mason. Just out of turn 4 down into the grass. I don't think he had any help there, Kevin. I think he just got a little loose on his own.
I'm going to need a replay there.
No caution flag. That's going to stay green. So, oh, nope. Now we're going to get the yellow flag. It has flown. Bit of a saving grace, I would say, for Mason Lowry, who pretty much was going to have this first stage be a wash had that ended up staying green, which for the 1 car incident, very well may have. This is a good opportunity to mention. Caution laps do count. So we are going to be counting these caution laps as we wind it down. Man, that was quite something as we try to take a look at the replay here. Not quite catching the beginning of that on the replay. We're going to try and rewind time here. Here we go. So you can see the 56 right in front of Kevin's pick, number 37, as they come out of turn 4.
Yeah, it looks like he just got loose off of 4 there. 4 can be a little bit deceiving. These cars are down on horsepower, and you're flat-footed through turns 3 and 4. But with this higher track temp, it's easy to be overconfident through that section, and I think that's what happened to Mason right there.
Absolutely. You got to think we were only a couple laps into the race. Tires probably still weren't warm, at least not at their peak temperature.
Exactly, yes.
So we could have been sliding around a little bit. And I do think Jason Taylor tagged him as he was spinning. The 37 had nowhere to go, so that was kind of unavoidable. Luckily, neither driver receiving too much damage that I can see. That is if they tagged each other. It was a close call. It was hard to tell, but Mason Lowry is going to make his way down pit road, so I'm not sure if he's just going to try to...
Jason Taylor's down pit road as well, so he might have gotten more damage than we thought. One of the things, these guys, because the air temperature is a little low, they might be running a bit more tape, and that tape is really going to help these guys in turn 1 and 2 to try and get more grip on the front tires. And when you get a little tap on that front end, it can crush those air ducts up and constrict airflow to the radiator, and then you'll get some overheating issues. Jason Taylor is off pit road now, and it looks like Mason is pulling away as well. So those two are joining. I mean, I'm a rookie at this, but is it too early to say commentators curse? Because our 2 picks are at the back now.
I was just gonna say, what a turn of events here. We both picked a driver, and both of the drivers we picked immediately to the back of the field from the front after just 5 laps. That has commentator's curse written all over it, I would say, Kevin.
Yeah. So, how about we not make any more picks for the rest of the Open? We'll just let these guys handle it themselves.
I won't make you my pick for the actual All-Star race. We'll leave it at that.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
We'll make Bryson my main pick for the Open. How about that? But yeah, we have our producer
I,
Carlos
well,
yelling in our
Carlos
ear
has
that
made his pick, and it's Damaris, as usual. One of these days, he's going to be right.
one of these days, it's pretty soon. I mean, Damaris has really been picking up the pace through this season. He's been doing a lot better. Not to curse him
One of
before he even gets in the car, but I think he'll be right pretty soon.
one of the things we should note is there's a driver on pit road right now that you're familiar with, Andre, Ashton Hartman, making his 100% Cup Series debut. I'm not sure if he's pitting for tires or if he got any damage from a check up there. But we had a joke in practice that if he raced his way through to the All-Star, then Bryson was going to have to come up here in the booth and broadcast with you for that race. But I'm
Hmm.
not sure. Maybe he just felt something in the car that he wasn't comfortable with, or what. But
He's gonna,
unfortunate opening laps for several people.
definitely, and he's gonna have to get going soon if he wants to beat the pace car out because the pace car is in turns 3 and 4 right in the middle, and his pit stall is not too far down
Oh,
pit road. So
he's having internet issues? Is he
hmm. Yeah, he's actually gone from my. Oh no,
blinking?
he's back. Yeah, I think it might be connection issues. He's not. He did take tires. I will say that if he gets out on track again, he did use tires. But we got a driver in the infield care center, which is Robert Miller, who was actually in qualifying in practice, and he was gone. I believe he was
Well,
supposed to
he's
finish the race,
locked
wasn't he,
in.
Kevin? He's
No, he
locked in.
locked himself in with his win in Sonoma.
Oh, that's
So
true.
I'm not sure what he's in the infield care center. Maybe he had an early party, but might
Well,
be interesting to see what he has to say.
let's find out. Let's bring him up. Robert Miller, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Robert, we were just having a conversation trying to figure out why you're in the infield care center. Yeah, didn't grid on the race. Did something happen in the infield there?
I'm just watching the race, having some fun. Want to have a little chat with y'all.
All right. Well, tell you what, Robert, what are your expectations? As Kevin just said, you locked yourself in with your win at Sonoma, and it's going to be a fun race, very short race, and a lot of just kind of going full send. You're not going to have to worry too much about conservation. How do you feel about your luck tonight?
Be a crazy race just because of that. Texas is wide open. This place is going to be one groove. Surprisingly enough, weird, right? It's Texas. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fighting for a line. And new arrow, we got a whole new update this week. I don't know if y'all mentioned that. I wasn't paying attention that much. But there is a new arrow update. It introduces the super speedway arrow into 1.5. So we got all that arrow loose, the bubble effects, the super draft, all that stuff is now in effect. Even side drafting is a big deal now. You can really slow somebody down if you side draft them very hard. So that's a whole new deal. I think Mason showed that just a few minutes ago. The arrow loose when he got somebody tucked up behind him. So that's something to watch out for.
And how is that going to change how you approach your driving style for this race? I mean, side drafting, I think when the drivers hear that side drafting is now effective, the automatic fear is that maybe we get a little bit too aggressive. Maybe the side drafting becomes a bit of a problem. What do you think is going to happen there?
Yeah, learning experience for sure. For some of these folks, they never have dealt with it, never simulated it, as it were. It's never been as effective. I mean, you do have super speedways, but it's a whole different style of racing. You're wide open the whole time, not including lifting like we are here at Texas. So yeah, it's going to be a learning experience. People are going to have to learn to limit and see when you should be side drafting on somebody when you're not losing enough time, and just see how much of a run somebody can get who's behind that too wide side drafting can get, because it's going to be crazy out there. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. And my last question is, how quickly do you turn up that aggression? Are you going to be going 100% from the drop to green? Or are you maybe going to wait a little bit longer because you know everybody else is going to be over driving and just trying to get up front as quick as they can?
Oh no, it's 100% all the way, all day. We got $50 for the first stage, $10 for the second stage, and a win for $40. Oh, gimme! You know, that's 100% all day, every day.
Absolutely. And we did. I think we forgot to mention, Kevin, that there is a monetary incentive for the All-Star race. Yeah, got any questions for Robert before we head out of the infield care center?
Well, the main thing I've taken from this interview is, according to Robert Miller, everything's bigger in Texas except for the racing line.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we're fighting for one groove. It's gonna be a crazy race.
Absolutely.
Looking
Well,
forward
Robert,
to it, bud.
we appreciate you hopping into the infield care center there. Always a pleasure. And wish you good luck in the All-Star, man.
Appreciate it. I'm gonna go cheer on Dalton now. See what he can do.
All righty. And that was Robert Miller and driver locked in, just wanting to have a bit of a chat.
He's cheering on his teammate and team owner, Dalton Mobley, who has been leading this race since the restart. He's got some guys side by side with Brian Branham and RJ Root, and the 42 of Derek Castor making his 100% Cup Series debut as well. He's impressing me so far.
And here we go.
Oh, no. That'll be a caution for sure.
Looks like the 22 also involved alongside the 48. Wow, that's heartbreaking for that 48. Adam's a driver that has had a lot of success this season, a lot of good runs. I think he was
Kyle
one of the
Amon
names
as well. He was hoping to race his way in for sure. Let's see what happened here.
As we take a look at the replay, you can see that number 22, he's making his way into first corner. Jason S. Taylor in front of him. And Jacob Adams getting a little bit squirrely out of the corner. He had to chase the car up the track. It got away from him. He countersteered, and unfortunately, there was not enough room there for two cars.
It was similar to what happened to Mason, but on the other side of the racetrack where there isn't as much banking, and it looked like he went to countersteer to catch it, and unfortunately, it caught him.
That is something that happens a lot on iRacing. Sometimes you countersteer and you get that grip.
Jason Taylor, it looks like he got net coated with that. I wonder if he got more damage from that.
Well, damage and also potentially incident points. With the 9x limit, Kevin, you got to think, if he did tag the number 56 earlier in the race and then got net coated there, he'd be up to 8x already. That would not leave much room for error, and we're in the first stage.
Right, you're right. That only leaves one more incident, and I'm not sure he would have gotten a 4x from that first bit of contact with Mason. iRacing can be a little inconsistent when it comes to that. But speaking of those two drivers that were caught up in that early incident, Jason S. Taylor is third, and Mason has made his way up to sixth. It looks like we've got 5 cars now off the lead lap and in the pits getting damage fixed. Not sure if we'll see those guys come out, so that leaves 7 cars on track, which means all but one of these guys is going to get their way through, and we've only got 6 laps left in this stage before 2 of these guys are locked in.
Yeah, that's a good point. We got a lot of drivers that have had some bad luck very early on, and like you said, I'm not entirely sure what the incident situation is with the 37. We're going to hope that he didn't get a 4X from that initial incident with the 56 because, like you said, he has staged a great recovery. He's made his way all the way up to third. He'll be rolling off on the second row right behind Dalton Mobley and Derek Castor. Again, like you mentioned, he's making his league debut, which what a way to debut in the league. Show up to the All-Star race and try to race your way in. And right now, to give him the commentator's curse, but his chances of making it in to the All-Star race are pretty good. Only one driver on the lead lap right now that could potentially miss out. And right now, with the speed he's had, doesn't look like it's going to be him so far.
It looks like Kyle Amon has got back on track. So with stage breaks, he will get his lap back. So he does have a really, really damaged car, but all he needs is one other guy or 2 other guys to get more damage than him. But I think what we're going to see here from Jason S. Taylor is if he's close to that incident limit, it's all or nothing. He's going to have to be really aggressive and try and get to that second place spot before the end of this stage to lock himself in and not give himself those extra laps to accrue more incident points.
Absolutely. And the best place to avoid any other cars is the front of the pack. So he's going to be trying to get up there. And like you said, it's going to be all or nothing, go for broke. I think these restarts are going to pose a great opportunity for some passes going into turn 1 and getting onto that back straightaway. If you can stay with the leader, if you can really be vigilant on when they get on the throttle and stay with them, the draft is just so strong here that for the first few laps, you can kind of tuck into their arrow and try to make a run at it after you get wound up and get your top end built up. But it's going to be tough. When you're that close to the incident limit, you have to be aggressive, but at the same time, you got to be clean about it. You can't afford to get into somebody. You can't afford to get into the wall. Depending on what his situation is, again, we don't think he's at 8x. That would be the absolute most that he could be at, potentially, depending on how iRacing saw the situation. If he was at 8x, just spinning out would be enough for the DQ. So he's got to be quick. He's got to be clean. And I would imagine his nerves are probably getting a little bit tense at this point, but have to wait and see as the rest of the field lines up behind him. Of course, Mason Lowry in that 56, getting up to the
22
third
is
row.
back out on track as well. We're going to end up with a 3-lap dash to the finish of this stage. And we'll also have to note the 4th place driver, Matthew Gaskins. Surprise inside the top 5. He's looking to get his way into the All-Star as well.
And also, one thing to note, Ashton Hartman has got back out on the track. He's 9 laps down, so he would need nothing short of a miracle at this point. 9 laps down, that would be a lot of cautions in a very short period of time. But he's going to be out on track. He's going to try to do what he can. And with the 22 and the 20, Kyle Heyman being on track, I got to wonder if maybe towards the end of this, lap traffic doesn't come into play. Because if they're that damaged, might be a little off pace. We'll just have to wait and see as pace car makes its hard left turn, and Dalton Mobley wastes no time getting on the throttle, but maybe a little bit too hard there, Kevin. I think I saw some wheel spin out of it, and the 42 is going to stay right into the bumper.
A little bit, yeah. These tires have a little bit of heat in them, and those cautions will create heat cycles, and they're not going to be too happy on those restarts. As we've got Derek Castor, newcomer to the league, going for the lead.
Got right to the underside of that 77, used a little bit of that side draft, and made the pass expertly. He is clear and away coming out of turn 2. He doesn't have to go much further to get to the end of the stage. Now that puts Dalton Mobley on the hot seat as Jason S. Taylor goes side by side with him. That is the battle for the transfer position of this stage. Second place is where you got to be if you're not Derek Castor out of Papillion, Nebraska.
It's looking like Dalton might have a short run car. He's stuck up on the outside. That's not where you want to be. But, I mean, if you're Dalton right now, you're in a tough spot, but you've got 2 other stages. You've got other chances to lock yourself in. It's not worth destroying the car right now.
A huge shot to Jason S. Taylor from RJ Root. He pushed him through the tri-oval, and that got him side by side with the leader. We're 2 wide, 2 rows deep. Wow. Brian Branham underneath RJ Root, the 42, having to make an evasive maneuver as Jason Taylor slid up the track out of 2. We're coming to the white flag of this stage, the Our Publix Chicken Tenders on sale white flag of the stage. And here comes Brian Branham trying to take second. He's going to get the transfer position. If he can hold it, he's in the grass. Jason Taylor sideways. 3 wide. No!
White flag.
Here goes Branham. RJ Root in the middle of a 3-wide situation for the transfer. He's going to come down into the quarter panel at 37. Contact. The 8 is sideways. Dalton Mobley into the rear bumper. So much going on at once, and here comes the number 79. Where did he come from? Hugh Gaskins throwing his hat into the ring for this second transfer position, as they're going to stay side by side for second. It is going to be Brian Branham that wins this stage, but who's it going to be for second? Jason Taylor crosses the line, and man, what a battle, and he definitely earned that transfer position, Kevin.
Wow, that was for the first stage of that race. That was a lot of excitement. I'm pretty surprised at how aggressive these guys were being to get those spots. But like you said, Brian Branham and Jason Taylor, they're done. They're going to the All-Star. They did their job.
Absolutely. Couldn't have done it any better, I don't think, because they were on the hot seat. They were battling it out, and somehow they got it done. When I saw that 37 get sideways through the travel like that, I thought, man, no way he saved that. That is the entire field collected. But
just like I said, with those heat cycles in the tires, there's not a lot of grip on that part of the racetrack. And yeah, he did a masterful job just finishing that stage, let alone coming home with one of the spots. And we'll have to get Brian Branham lost in that battle. He pulled away from that 3-wide battle to take that final lap pretty easily.
Yeah, once he got out to the lead, there was no looking back. He took that lead. He extended it all the way up until the stage break came out, and nobody really had anything for him. And I think that's what made the situation so dire for a lot of those guys. They knew well, we're not going to catch him. He's too far gone already. We got to get this second place, or else we're not moving on yet. So that was quite intense. And like you said, I can't believe they were racing that hard for the first stage. I mean, we got 4 more transfer positions, 2 more stages, the next one, and then the final stage, of course. Seems like, it put me in the driver's seat. I'm thinking I'm going to hang back until the second or third, and we're going to let this field thin out a little bit. But these guys absolutely went full send. I guess Robert Miller, in his infinite wisdom, he was right. It's full send from the drop of the green. These cars just handle so well. And these
Absolutely.
drivers are going to have a hard time being patient when they know they can go full throttle.
Well, let's try and get Brian in here and hear from him, see what he has to say about that win.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and bring him up. Brian Branham, you got a copy?
Yeah, you guys got me?
Yep, we got you. Well, Brian, it was incredible showing there late in that first stage. I mean, you took that transfer spot by force. You got out front, and nobody behind you had anything. How was the car feeling? And did you really expect to get that lead that you had at the end there?
Yeah, the car was a little loose there at the beginning. I went in and I figured, go in, get a little bit, fresher tires and just go ahead and try to get in now instead of playing around. I've seen some accidents and stuff, and I didn't want to get caught up in anything. So my thought process was just go out there and win it now. So, Jason was just up there, and he wasn't going to move off the inside. I'm glad he still got through. I know he kind of lost control there, but yeah, did what I had to do.
Absolutely. Now the question is, now that you're in the All-Star, what are your expectations for that race? How do you feel about your chances there?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm going up against some really tough dudes. You got Hixenbaugh, Delaney, Benefell, Robert, all of them guys. So, I'll just be happy with a good showing. I didn't have a lot of time to work on the set this week, so we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, again, Brian, congratulations on your stage win and your transfer into the All-Star. Good luck in that race, and we'll be watching you.
Thanks, man.
All right, that was your stage winner, Brian Branham. Now let's have a word with Jason Taylor, the other driver who got the transfer spot. I feel like he's going to have quite a story to tell here, Kevin.
Normally, I wouldn't say to interview the second place finisher in the stage, but we've got to hear from his perspective on that one.
Absolutely. Jason Taylor, you got a copy?
10-4, good buddy.
Jason, that was an absolutely wild last few laps. We up in the booth were just losing our minds at how close that was. You were battling just so intensely with everybody around you, playing the defense, playing the offense. At one point, you were completely sideways in the tri-oval, and I thought, man, there's no way Jason brings that car back around. And then you did. What was that like from your perspective, man?
It was a roller coaster ride. I was driving like a pissed off teenager after that last caution. I was really upset that I got banged up early and then got banged up again. So I didn't want to have to go through another 20 laps, so I wanted to get the car through, and I wasn't gonna. I was just gonna put it anywhere I could to get there.
Absolutely. Now, when you got sideways in the quad oval, how far gone was that car? How much steering input did it take to bring that thing back around?
Do you remember specifically?
Do you remember
there was a lot of there was a lot going on that lap.
Yeah.
I know I was pulling the steering wheel back, but I can't remember. I was like, Jesus, people get by me here. And then only one person went flying by us, and I was just like, okay, let's stay in front then. I knew RJ had good tires, and I wasn't going to let him get in front of me or to my inside, so I was just hoping he would push me through, and he did.
Yeah, he gave you a heck of a push up to challenge the leader there at one point. That was just, again, incredible to watch. Well, Jason, congratulations on your transfer. I got to ask, how do you feel about making it into the All-Star race? What do you think your chances are there?
Man, I was going to do the whole Stone Cold 316 promo and just promo on Maris talking shit about not putting me in the polls. And after how awesome and frustrating and amazing that that finish was. I just didn't have it in me to give it.
Uh,
Real quick, Unique Designs and CC O'Brien's for being sponsors and just being, teammates. I really appreciate them. I appreciate my whole team. I appreciate you guys in the booth, and I appreciate Kevin and other Kevin.
Well, congratulations on locking yourself in. We'll see you later tonight on the track.
Some boys.
that was the second transfer holder, Jason Taylor, with quite the interview there. He was, like you said, he was driving angry, and I think it definitely showed. He was driving like a madman, trying to defend, trying to play offense, and to him it was all a blur. And that's how it goes sometimes, Kevin. You get in the zone, you're just focused so much on the cars around you, you don't even remember what you did half the time.
That was my first thought when he hesitated, because when you have laps like that, you have to go back and watch the replay, because way too many things happen, and you're not even necessarily making decisions at that point. It's just instinct. So it's not surprising to me that he doesn't quite remember individual incidents. But we've got RJ Root leading this race. Derek Castor continuing to have an excellent showing here. Filling the field, we've got Dalton Mobley in third. He's looking at second right there. Matthew Gaskins in fourth, and Mason Lowry in fifth. Might have damage from that second or third lap incident that he had, but he's just back there being patient. So we'll see what he can do. I'm not sure if he'll be able to get up to those guys, or if he's just waiting to see if more chaos happens.
We do have some racing left in the stage. We're on lap 30, so we're at about 11 to go, 10.5 once we reach the backstretch. So he's got a little bit of time, not much, and he is going to make his way around Matthew Gaskins in that number 79. That's going to put him up into P4, and now he's got a little ways ahead before he sees Dalton Mobley in third. And the battle right now looked like it was going to be for the lead. The 42, Derek Castor, he got up to RJ Root almost no problem. It seemed like he kind of had the car to beat for a lap or two there. Then he started to fall back. So I don't know if maybe he heated up his tires a little bit. Now he's kind of regrouping, letting them cool down, and then he's going to make another lunge at it. But we do have some lap traffic. The number 22 sliding in front of the leader.
Oh, no.
And that's going to give the 42 a huge run going into 3 and 4, Kevin.
That's extremely unfortunate for RJ Root, but we've got Derek Castor. He wants to win this race. I don't think he's satisfied with sitting in second, because he can't really relax with Dalton Mobley breathing down his neck right there.
Now, there is no room for error and no room to breathe. He is kind of boxed in. He's got to hold on to that second position, but Dalton Mobley in that 77, he's been strong all night. He's been running up front, a little bit more lap traffic. Kyle Amon, he almost swerves up into the 42. 42 making evasive maneuvers for the second time tonight. Man, seems like he's got a magnet inside of that car, it would seem, because every time he gets near somebody, they tend to slide up there. But again, Mobley has been very fast all night long. He's had the speed, just not quite there for stage one, just missed out there. Now he's going to fall under fire from the 56, who really drove it into that corner deep. As the 22 makes his way down pit road again, I think either he has decided that it is not worth it and that car is too badly damaged to continue, or yeah, that's got to be the situation there, because I mean the front end of that thing is gone. I can't imagine it's much of a dream to drive at that point. But Derek Castor remaining behind the number 8, and Robert Miller pointed out in his interview, kind of one lane, and that lane is the bottom. That's where everybody's going to want to be. So it kind of seems like to get around somebody, you got to get that run coming down the straightaway and set yourself up for it, and kind of dive bomb down into the lower section of the track on the left rear quarter panel if you want to make that move. Because if you can't, there's really nowhere else to pass. You're not going to make that move on the high side. You're not really going to make the overtakes coming out of the corners. You can't really build up momentum to try to slingshot around them on exit. So you really got to make a very specific type of move here. And even though Derek Castor is fast, it seems like he's not quite been able to pull that off. And right now, as we're on lap 35 out of 40 for the stage, RJ Root is actually beginning to pull away. And here comes Dalton Mobley challenging for the transfer position. He looked all the way down to the apron there, Kevin. I think he was determined to make that move, but the door was just absolutely slammed, and there wasn't much he could do but fall back and regroup.
Well, I've been keeping my eye on Dalton, because what he was doing a few laps ago, I saw him pull to the inside on the backstretch, and what that's telling me is his temperature was a little bit hot. He's probably got it taped up. He's known to do that. But what we might be seeing from him is taking it a little bit easy, trying to cool that engine down, and try and make a push here at the end to try and get to that second spot. And it looks like he's doing that.
Absolutely, and I think it would be I think it'd be a pretty popular thing if Dalton Mobley made his way into the All-Star race. You know, he's been in the league a long time, and he's always been one of those drivers that, you know, he's always up there. You're always kind of talking about him, and you know, he hasn't got a win yet, but
There he goes.
he's very well liked around the garage, and here he comes on the outside. It's a bold move. We know the bottom is preferred, but can he do anything up here? No. He's going to drop back. Unfortunately, he's going to have to stage another attempt at it. And I'll tell you what, Kevin, it didn't work out, but I like it. It shows that he is trying and he is willing to do anything to get up there and try to pass this 42. But unfortunately, this track is just so one lane that he made that move, and it cost him a little bit of time. We're on lap 38. So when we cross the line this time, it's going to be 2 more laps around Texas Motor Speedway for this stage. And that is not leaving a lot of time for Mobley to make his move on this 42. In the meantime, RJ Root up front still pulling away. So really, battle is for second as the 77 again begins to close in.
Yeah, I think Dalton is going to have one more shot at this. He's going to the outside again. It might work in one. Well, the run kind of died there. Might be trying to get a run off of 1 and 2. We've seen Castor get tight off of 2. But I think Derek Castor is doing everything he needs to do to pull this off as we're closing in on the white flag here.
And they caught this lap traffic at a terrible place. Kyle Amon coming out of turn 4. That made everybody in this pack alter their trajectory. And you know as well as I do, Kevin, you never want to have to alter your car's lane when you're coming out of the turn. That unsettles the weight of that car. It makes it a handful. That was scary. And it cost Mobley the most, I think, because he dropped back. And now on the our Publix chicken tender subs on sale.
Castor's going to get a run here.
White flag. Castor's going to try to make a move up high, dive down low. Can he make anything happen? I don't think so. He's going to stay firmly behind that number 8. And it looks like it's going to be RJ Root taking the win for stage 2. And the second transfer position for this stage going to Derek Castor with Mobley not far behind. Wow. That was not as eventful as the first stage, but definitely not any less exciting. That was 3 drivers giving it everything they could and just trying to put their car anywhere on the track where they might be able to get some speed, and it just played out. Derek Castor and the number 8 got their transfer positions, and now these drivers that are left in this race, Kevin, they are on the hot seat. 2 more transfer positions. That's it. It is do or die at this point.
Yeah, and I think what you saw in that stage was a product of not having those caution brakes. The guys were able to get sorted out, and they got single file. And once you're single filed and stretched out, that's when this track is really, really difficult to make passes and make moves. We saw it with the 77 several times trying to make the move on Castor. Wasn't able to make it done. But we're only going to have 3 drivers here, 2 of at least one of them with damage on their vehicles. Yes, only 3 drivers on the lead lap. So 2 of these guys are going into the big show, and one of them are going home. So I'm not sure how single file these guys are going to be in the 3rd stage.
Absolutely. I don't think we're going to see the kind of separation. I mean, as much as you can call what we saw separation, they were pretty close the whole stage, but I don't think we're going to see that much single file. These guys are going to be absolutely driving as hard as they can, especially Dalton, because this is his last chance to get into the All-Star race. And now the drivers who were continually just edging him out for those transfer positions, they're already transferred. They're not in this race anymore. Now it's just him and everybody else who has yet to transfer. So he knows he's probably one of the fastest drivers among those remaining, and he's got to take this opportunity that he has and make the most of it. Otherwise, it's going to be absolutely heartbreaking, because you got to think Mobley finished stage 1, I believe, in 3rd, or at least somewhere in the top 4. And then, of course, that stage just missing out, finishing 3rd. So he's been so close both times. If it slipped through his fingers here, that would be really devastating, I would say. But everybody coming down for fresh tires, which, of course, means that they are going to have some pretty well-handling machines, at least for the first few laps, and they're going to be able to really let out that aggression that we talked about. Mason Lowry looks like he's going to be rolling off on the front row. He's up to P2 as far as timing and scoring is concerned. I suppose that is accurate somehow.
Randy was a lap down, so Mason was able to beat Dalton off pit road there, which could be huge because now he controls that restart. But before we get to that, why don't we hear from RJ Root?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and bring our stage winner up into the booth. RJ Root, you got a copy?
Yes, I got you guys.
RJ, you've had a bad fast machine all night long. You were right there in stage 1, just barely missed out on it. Stage 2, you got out front and you never looked back. How'd the car feel out there?
The car didn't feel great. Mostly because I kind of built the setup for more of a nighttime, kind of assuming I was going to make it into the All-Star race. And so, I mean, it wasn't handling exactly to my liking, but I know at the nighttime it is actually bad fast.
All right. Well, speaking of the All-Star race, now that you've got your transfer position, how do you feel going forward into that race? What do you think your chances are there?
After our practice session earlier and comparing lap times with everyone, I was right up there with some of the top guys, and I have a lot of confidence in this car. Having Hawk Simworks on the hood is always a good luck for me. So
Absolutely. Now, one of your competitors there, your fellow competitors, Robert Miller, he said that he expected the All-Star race to be pure aggression from the very beginning, the drop of the green flag. Everybody's going to be given it 100%, not much time to wait around. Do you agree? Do you think it's going to be just all out 100% get, or you're going to be kind of a little patient at the beginning?
with the way that the way that the track's been driving, I think it is going to be aggression all the time. I noticed with my car, I wasn't getting very much tire wear, so I know I can push a lot harder than I've ever had to, and just the way that this track runs, you have to be aggressive in order to get by someone.
I would have to agree with that 100%. Well, again, congratulations on the transfer, RJ. We're going to be keeping an eye on you in the All-Star, and we wish you the best of luck going forward.
All right, thank you.
And that was stage winner RJ Root with a very, I'd say, confident demeanor, Kevin. I think he's really liking that setup, or at least he's going to like it. He said it wasn't quite up to his standards for this race, and again, he did set it up for the nighttime, and this is a little bit after sunset, so the temps are going to go down a little bit more. And I think that's definitely a good strategy play. It's a bit of a risk, Kevin, if you don't know that you're going to make it into the All-Star 100% to set your car up for the nighttime.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a risk, but it worked out for him. And he was very quick in practice when the track temp got down about 10 degrees lower than what it is right now. So that session opens and it's what he's expecting. I expect him to be up front, to qualify up front, and to be a threat for all 3 stages.
I agree, absolutely. And now we got the pace car making that hard left turn. Mason Lowry, the control car for the first time since the beginning of the race. And he is going to have no wheel spin, no issues for the driver of the number 56. Dalton Mobley going to slip back a little bit to the tune of about 2 car lengths. But no big deal yet. We are single file. And I got to wonder, man, how anxious is Mason right now? I mean, last time he was in this situation, he came out of turn 4 and the car just got away from him. And it's taken him until now to recover from that and get back out front. And he's got Dalton Mobley and Matthew Gaskins, very competent and talented drivers behind him. And if something goes wrong now, if something goes haywire, if that car slides out from underneath him, if he tags the wall, if Mobley gets around him and then the 79 starts pressuring him, there's not going to be any time for another comeback. This is it.
Well, I'm a little concerned. The last time we saw Mason Lowry out front in clean air with all that clean air on his nose, he got loose on the exit of 4, and we saw what happened there. And I believe this was the lap of the run that it happened on. Not trying to jinx him. I'm hoping he gets through this okay. As we see Dalton Mobley way up out of the line, and Matthew Gaskins puts himself into position to take that spot.
Yeah, that was not an easy pass for Gaskins, though. He got down on that white line. That's kind of what I was reacting to, and he got very squirrely. He was fishtailing it through the exit of that corner, and I almost thought we were going to have another situation like Mason's earlier in the race. But he gathered it up, and he was able to get around Dalton, but this is bad for the driver of the number 77. We are at 13 laps to go, 12 this time when they cross the line, and he is again just outside of the transfer position looking in for the third time tonight. You
I
know
think
he
if
wants
you're
that pass.
I think if you're Dalton right now, you just need to be patient. You need to watch what the 77 is doing, watch where he's fast, watch where he's slow, maybe wait for him to try and go for the lead and take advantage of that, as it looks like he's going to get a run here on Mason. Mason might be dealing with some damage there, or we might just be seeing those drafting effects from that long backstretch.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B for sure. The 79 did have a huge run going into that corner. He had to back off a little bit. There was no real opportunity to pass. But, Dalton, he's not falling out of it yet. He is right there with the 79. And like you said, Kevin, if he's patient and he waits for the 79 and the 56 to start battling, that could be the door opening that he needs.
Yeah, and it's looking to me like Mason's struggling in 1 and 2. They're both closing up on him on the exit at 2, and it leaves him really vulnerable on the backstretch. And I can't imagine they're going to let too many more laps go by without having to take a dive into 3, even though it might not work. When you're in the position that Gaskins is in right now, you can't afford to be patient, because if you wait too long, Dalton's right there to strike.
Absolutely. If you wait around too long, there's other drivers behind you that want that transfer just as much as you do, if not more. So like you said, no time to wait around. But here comes Dalton. Man, he backed off. Going into that corner, I think he might have been able to stick his nose underneath the 79. But he was extremely courteous there. He lifted, backed out of it. He's going to try again after he regroups. But we do have, I believe that's Kyle Amon off in the distance, so a little bit more lap traffic, which could affect things depending on where they catch him. Last time they caught him coming out of turn 4, which was less than ideal for a lot of these leaders. It was not a good place to catch him. But now it looks like they're going to get to him going into turn 1.
That's not going to be good. The entrance of turn 1 is so important. I think that's why you saw Dalton back out of it the last lap. You need to arc that corner perfectly to get the run out of it. As we see Dalton pull down low, I think he's overheating again. He doesn't quite have a run there, but he's pushing as hard as he can. We might see, I think Dalton either makes the pass or blows an engine here.
I would have to agree. And when they caught that number 20, that was kind of scary, not only just because, the entry is so important, like you said, but it seemed like Kyle Amon didn't really know that there was cars right beneath him, because he kept turning down. And then at the last second, you seen that car bobble, and he shot back up the track there for a minute. So that was definitely a scary call. But he was able to kind of avoid any incidents there and didn't really shake the running order up any. But we're on lap 54, coming to 55, so it's going to be 6 to go in the race this time. Dalton Mobley clipping the grass to the left side tires.
He's got another run. Just can't do anything with it going into 1.
Yeah, watch this though, Kevin. He got a great 1 and 2, and he has a lot more momentum coming onto this straightaway than he has before. He's going to get right up to the bumper of the 79. The question is, can he do anything with it through 3 and 4? Not quite yet, but that 79 looking wicked loose in front of him. I wonder if maybe those tires are starting to fade, as Mason continues to play the defense as we cross the line for lap 56. Is the number 56 leading the way. So here we go again through 1 and 2. This has been his better corner every time. The 79
Gaskins
slides
a little
up.
bit high.
He can't afford to do that next lap. 77 is going to be there. That's going to open the door. These leaders are closing up as a whole. The 79 has caught up to the 56, and the 77 is pressuring that 79. This is anybody's game at this point as they work their way through the quad oval. Again, 1 and 2. This is where the 77 is fast. This is where the 79 tends to fade a little bit. So he's going to close in through the center. Dalton flying through turns 1 and 2. He's going to get to the inside of Matthew Gaskins. They're going to be door-to-door for the final transfer position.
And he sent it into 3.
Going to find out. The bottom lane's pretty good here. There he goes around the 79. He has got the transfer position back. And that, like I said, going back to the turn where he made that move, Kevin, he was faster than not just the 79, but even the 56. He was faster than both those guys. Seems like whatever he's done with this setup, it likes turns 1 and 2 where they're struggling.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a move on Mason here. He's just so strong. He's able to keep to that white line. And you saw him, even though the race line is very narrow, Dalton's moving all over the place. He's trying it a little bit high in 3 and 4. We saw him trying it really, really low in 1 and 2. He's doing everything he can to try and make these moves. But now I'm worried that his tires might be a little bit too hot as the 79's coming right back to him.
Yeah, that 79 gained a lot of ground through 3 and 4, but coming through 1 and 2, look at that. Oh, no! Here comes the 79 again on the high side. The 77 off pace.
He's got the run.
And Gaskins back to the transfer position. We're going to be coming to the rpublic's Chicken Tender Subs on Sale.com white flag of the race as we cross the line this time.
I think what I said happened. I think his tires got too hot, and when you lose that grip in 1 and 2, you just lose all your momentum. And unfortunately, I think that's what happened to Dalton. But Gaskins here might just go for the lead and go for the win.
And they're catching lap traffic again. Kyle Amon on the bottom of the track. How does the pack react to this? Looks like everybody's going to make it through. One more corner, one chance to send it for Dalton Mobley, one chance to defend the lead for Mason Lowry. Only
Dalton's
one
trying. He's got to run. He's got a huge run.
And it's not going to
got to back out.
Mason Lowry wins the final stage of the Open. Matthew Gaskins claiming the final transfer spot of the race, and Dalton Mobley for the third time tonight coming up just short. Absolutely heartbreaking for him, but definitely a redemption story for Mason, I would say, who spun out so early in the race, kind of on his own, didn't really get much help. Took him a long time to recover from that, but recover he did. Now he is going to be making his way into the All-Star race.
Yeah, you've got to feel for Dalton there. He was in position all night and just didn't quite get it done. But you've got to be impressed with Mason Lowry having that incident early, being patient, not making any more mistakes. And I got to tell you, Matthew Gaskins drove an incredible race. He has struggled in points races. He only has one top 10 this season. But here he finds himself locked into the All-Star, and he's got as good a chance as anybody else at coming home with some money.
Absolutely. I think, like you said, when you said as good of a chance of anybody, I agree. This track and the way that it's raced, it is proven to be anybody's game. I mean, it is just flat out, wide open, full throttle racing for the majority of these runs. And it's all about setting up your move. You know, how much of a run can you get through the corner? How much draft can you use? How much can you side draft the competition if you get to them? And it's a really level playing field. I would say this is one of the few races where setup, this is an open setup league, and we often get to see just how much the mechanical expertise of these drivers really shines through. But this is one of those races where I feel like, yeah, setup helps, but really it's going to be about decision making on the fly. Watching your mirror, paying attention to everybody around you, and just trying to make the proper maneuvers when it's absolutely beneficial to you.
Well, that's the thing. We're seeing such a weird combination between the draft being so strong and the dirty air being so harmful in 1 and 2. The guys will get the runs. They can't quite do anything with it. It's an interesting style of racing, and we sure saw both sides of it with that crazy stage 1 and a single file stage 2, and a surprisingly interesting race between only 3 drivers there in stage 3. But before we get to interviewing Mason Lowry for racing his way in, how about we talk about the All-Star format and what we're going to be dealing with there?
Yeah, absolutely. So explain how this All-Star format works exactly, Kevin.
Well, we've got 3 stages. We're trying to simplify what NASCAR came up with. We're only going to have 3 stages. The first stage is going to be treated similar to a heat race. And in that, we're going to have 30 laps. And the winner of that race, like Robert said, is going to get $50. So you want to be up front during that first stage. But after that stage, all cars you're going to see them go off the track. They're going to go back to the garage. They're going to get all their damage fixed. It's going to be record times as well. Guys are going to have engines replaced like nothing. and they're also going to get a free set of tires. And when they get back on the grid for stage 2, the entire running order will be inverted for a 40 lap stage 2. After that, we'll see a normal stage break, and then we'll finish it up with a 10 lap shootout. So a little bit more confusing than what our typical races are, but hopefully people find it a little easier to understand than what our real life counterpart NASCAR is going to be trying to pull off tomorrow.
Absolutely. And that 10 lap shootout, man, that is going to be a show, because I don't think there's a driver in this field that is not going to be given an absolutely maximum aggression. That green flag waves for the final 10 laps. It's going to be absolutely crazy to watch. But now let's go ahead and get the final driver to make his way into this race. If I can find him, oh, there he is. We found him in the team chats. We're going to bring him on over to the booth. Mason Lowry, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Well, Mason, congratulations on the transfer. That was quite the opener for you. You were the control car rolling off the grid, got a little bit loose, spun around through the infield there, and it took you a while, but you were able to kind of stage a comeback, race your way back up to the front of the field, and ultimately win the final stage and make your way into the All-Star. What was your thought process after that initial mistake, and how aggressive were you trying to get back up front?
I was just pissed off. I mean, that's really all it was. I mean, it's a race that I felt like I should have, I felt like I should have run 20 laps and then been done. It's a race that I'm not proud it took me that long to go through. But the new aero is loose, and I hadn't had a lot of practice in the pack, so Jason got on my quarter there, or right on my bumper, and I just took all the air off the car and it whipped it right around. I hadn't felt anything like that, so. Yeah, after that, I just kind of took it easy, and I started counting cars after that wreck, and figured that I'd pretty much get in. I just needed to beat one person, so I was gonna let the guys wreck if they wanted to wreck stage 2. So I just dropped way off, and I think I did all right with 30 seconds of damage. So get this new car for the All Star, and I think I'll be pretty quick.
Absolutely. So that kind of leads into my next question. What are your expectations for the All-Star race? How do you feel about your car going into that?
Just gonna have some fun, man. I think the damage really hurt us in 1 and 2 in that, so I think we'll be a little bit better come race time. So we'll see, but I think it's going to be pretty tight knit. You really couldn't pull away with that 5% less horsepower. I think you're going to see a lot of pack racing and huge runs in 3 and 4.
Absolutely. Well, again, Mason, congratulations on the transfer. We're going to be watching you in this All-Star race, and hopefully we're talking to you again at the end of it.
I appreciate it, man.
That was the final stage winner, Mason Lowry. Now we're going to get everything set up for the All-Star race. Drivers are going to move on over into that session. We're going to bring Ashton Hartman into the booth to join me for that race. And Kevin, I believe you got a driver suit you got to put on.
I'm going to have to get that on here pretty quick. One other thing to note, the first stage of this all-star race, we will see caution laps count, but the final 2 stages, they will not count. So you mentioned that 10-lap shootout being ridiculous. I think we're going to see a little bit more of what we saw in the first stage of this open, where guys are super aggressive, and those caution laps are not going to count towards that 10-lap total. And we also have a total of 5 green-white checkered attempts. So it might take a long time to get this thing finished up, but it all depends on how guys are racing. I'm looking forward to it after what I've seen here tonight.
I'm looking forward to it too. All right, we're going to throw it to a short break while everything gets set up for this race. Stay tuned. Don't miss any of the action here at Texas Motor Speedway. And we will be bringing it back for the All-Star race for the 100% Cup Series. things. But Ashton, I think you know a little bit more about how those cars handle than I do. You were actually just down in one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, the temps are going to be a little bit cooler than they were in the open, so it's going to throw these guys for a loop. But the biggest thing that we got to worry about isn't the temps of the track, but how the wear is going to affect the tires and the handling of these cars as these stages go on, especially in this race. The stages, I believe, are a little bit longer than the Open. The Open had 20-lap stages. I believe the first stage this race is going to be 30 laps. Then we're going to have another 40-lap stint, which is going to be long for those tires, especially with the way Turn 1 and 2 tears up these cars and their tire wear out there. And then I believe it's a 10-lap shootout. So hopefully they save a fresh set of tires for that final shootout. I do believe we have a heat in the format tonight that we're running, so that'll throw these guys for a loop. And it's going to be interesting for sure.
Absolutely. That's basically it's essentially the same race. It is going to be three different segments, but we do have it broken up into heats as far as the sim is concerned, because that way these drivers can get a fresh car free of charge after one of the stages there. So drivers are making their way out right now to qualify, and they're going to be posting their times. They have 2 laps and 5 minutes to make those 2 laps. On your screen right there, that's Bryson Nixonbaugh. He is making his way around the circuit on his out lap to try and post a time. And I think a lot of these drivers are going to place a lot of importance on qualifying, Ashton. One of the things we kept hearing due to this new aero package and a lot of other things, the drivers that we were interviewing kept saying, man, it's really one line, it's very difficult to pass. So tonight, if you can start up front, that might be the difference between making some money and not making some money.
Absolutely. I believe that this is definitely a one-lane track. The bottom lane is the preferred lane, as it is at most tracks, but especially at Texas. And these guys are definitely going to have to get creative when it comes to passing here.
Absolutely. And we saw in the Open a lot of the passing that was done by really setting it up a lot of time in advance. You know, if you're going to pass them coming out of turn 4, you had to start setting that up all the way into the entry of turn 1. It was kind of a game of chess. You know, you had to get that momentum. You had to build up to these things, as Bryson has finished his qualifying efforts. His lap time is going to be a 28.83. But right now on pole is actually Cameron Stone, who just got dethroned and knocked down by the driver of the number 9, new pole sitter with the new quick time, Jonathan Delaney, with a 28.751. So just 400ths of a second faster than Cameron Stone. He is going to put himself firmly at the top of the board. And speaking of qualifying, Ashton, it looks like Adam Benefiel is through with his qualifying efforts, and I want to have a word with him before this race. I feel like, you know, we wanted to get an interview in. I can't think of anybody who would give a more colorful interview. I want to,
especially during the All-Star race. Let's get him up here.
Absolutely. Adam Benefiel, I'm sorry to rip you out of your team chat there, but we up on the 3YTV booth, we wanted to get an interview in with somebody, and I honestly couldn't think of anybody who would probably give us a better interview than you. You just got done with your qualifying efforts. How you feeling about the car, man?
Honest to God, I feel like we got 2 twin rockets strapped onto this son of a gun and about to unleash hell on the rest of this field.
All right, you gonna go make you some money tonight? Get them stage wins?
I figured. That's why we showed up.
Absolutely. Why else would you show up?
I gotta say, Adam, I really love the paint scheme tonight. It's pretty simple, but that white with the light blue accent, you know, the lettering and stuff, it looks really sharp, man. Especially under the lights.
Yeah, I appreciate it. My painter, DP Paints, that was kind of our theme for it tonight. Just, simple. Keep it simple. So we're going with the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. So
Yep.
that's the thought behind that's the that's the thought. That was the thought process behind this scheme. And the turquoise blue is that's always kind of been like my signature thing all the way up going when I was going up through the rankings, making it to pro. Uh, always had that color. I felt like that was kind of like a signature color of mine that I ran forever. So I got away from it with WR1 and running their colors, and we figured what the hell tonight, let's have fun with it, and we brought it back and he killed it. I mean, it's the simplest paint scheme ever, but it looks so damn good.
It's an
Yep.
absolutely gorgeous car, and we're looking forward to seeing it work its way through the grid. You're rolling off, it looks like third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So you're rolling out P8 so far, and that's going to be a little bit of a task for you to get up through the grid here. A lot of cars to pass tonight, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, like literally we spent the last 10 minutes in practice building, adjusting for Q. So we focused the last 2 nights on race trim, and hopefully it's good enough. I know Delaney's fast. He's extremely fast. I did a little run with him there, and um, I don't know about uh, Bryson, but I'm sure he's pretty quick too.
Absolutely. Well, looks like you're about to grid up, so we're going to put you back in your team chat. And all right, Adam, go make that money.
Thanks.
All right, that was Adam.
Keeping it simple. I like it. I think that might be the key to winning the All-Star race tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely could be. As long as we don't, as long as you're in the show and you don't make any mistakes too early, keeping it simple might just work. But we're gonna go over our final qualifying order for the race. Of course, it was Jonathan Delaney on the pole with that 28.751. Cameron Stone rolling off on the front row right alongside him. He ran a 28.794. Row 2 is going to be the other Cameron Caldwell, the 28.823, alongside Bryson Hixenbaugh in fourth, 28.833. So a hundredth of a second between them. Robert Miller rolling out fifth, Kevin Steele sixth, Ryan Samuelson seventh, Adam Benefield eighth, RJ Root ninth. Rounding out your top 10 is going to be Jason. Ashton, take out the rest of the field here.
Ari's going to start it off in 11th. 28.960 was his lap time. Dustin Hall gridding next to him in 12th. Matthew Gaskins 13th. 29.708. He was one of our guys that won a stage in the Open. Derek Castor 14th. Damaris Hickenbottom 15th. And Cody Bird, Birdman himself, in 16th. That's going to round out our grid for the All-Star race.
16 drivers who had to scrap for their position in this race, and now that they have done their fighting, now that they've earned their keep, time to go back to work. They're going to have to climb into these cars and complete 100 laps, separated in, of course, stages of 30 laps, 40 laps, and again, that 10-lap dash at the end of the race, which is going to be absolutely eventful, I guess would be the word. But I'll tell you what, Ashton.
The Open was any indicator. These guys are gonna be bumping and running for it. Gotta say, it's a non-points race. There's nothing on the line here except money. So these guys are with no consequence. I think we're gonna see a lot more beating and banging out of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely, and really that compounds when you realize they get a fresh car. They're gonna get a free quick repair. At I believe the second stage break, and then it's going to be an all-out dash to the end. So they know they got another car waiting for them, and they know they can kind of beat and bang and bend in the fenders and not worry too much about it. So that's just going to really add to the aggression levels, I would say. And it's going to be quite a show. But the pace car is going to go around one more time. I believe when they cross the line this time, the lights should go off. That's a good view of those really neat little caution lights that Texas has. I'm not sure any other track really has those, but they're all strung along the catch fence, and definitely neat. As the pace car lights do go off, we got one more lap of pacing. I'll tell you what, Ashton, I'm getting a little anxious. I'm excited for this.
I was gonna say, what do you think? Who's your early pick for this All-Star race? Who do you think's possibly a dark horse in this event?
Well, I told Kevin I wouldn't pick him because the two picks that we made wrecked out very early in the Open. But, I know our producer's trying to get me to pick Damaris. He's got the camera on him, and he probably won't take the camera off of him for a while. He's going to try to goad me into picking him and then giving him the commentator's curse. But no, my actual pick for this race to make some money, I'm going to keep an eye on Robert Miller in that number 10 machine. He is coming off of some momentum, having just won Sonoma, and he's been fast all year long. Every time he has shown up to race, he has shown up to win and compete for it. So he's my dark horse pick right there.
I think I'm gonna go with possibly Mason Lowry in this one. He was really solid in the open. He had a little bit of issues with the setup being loose, but I think now at the cooler temps, I think that car is going to handle a lot better for him. And I think he's going to be aggressive here in this in the closing laps, especially in that 10-lap shootout. I think we should watch out for the number 56 machine.
Oh, and it's a scramble on the start as the green flag flies for the All-Star race. Wheel spin out of Cameron Stone's number 57 Coors Light machine is going to stack up the field, and it's going to trap Bryson Hixenbaugh up on the high line alongside Cam Caldwell and fellow Nexus driver Robert Miller as the 25 is up the track. He's down the track. He's everywhere, man. He's like Johnny Cash. He's been everywhere, and we have only been driving for about 20 seconds as he goes to the bottom of the track, and he is fighting that car. Adam Benefield to his rear bumper as he fishtails it. I don't know, Ashton. That number 25 is not looking good as Benefield cuts through the grass.
Yeah, and it's a knockdown drag out in the early laps of this race as Cameron Stone rallying back here with Bryson Hixenbaugh right on his rear bumper. They're trying to catch young John Delaney, but it is from fourth on back just a struggle to see who is going to take the fourth spot or move up towards the lead here. As we see Bryson Hixenbaugh get loose in the trial.
Yeah, Bryson got really loose. He is off pace, falling through the field. He was 3 wide for a moment with RJ Root and the number 16 Samuelson. Whoa, as RJ Root gets really sideways behind Hixenbaugh, nearly gets into the quarter panel. He's able to avoid catastrophe. And up front, the battling doesn't change. Kevin Steele making a move on the number 25, Cameron Caldwell. He's going to clear the path for Adam Benefield to make his way up in fourth. What
battle for second shaping up. Robert Miller is a familiar face we've seen in the races past few weeks. He is making a pass for second on Cameron Stone on the backstretch right now.
And we got a wreck in the back of the field. Jason S. Taylor and Cameron Caldwell. One other driver involved. Is that RJ Root? Hold on, I gotta scroll through. No, it's Cody Bird in the number 13 machine. And Root also
Root is also off pace. Not how these guys are wanting to start their night. Only in lap 4 of this race, and we've already got a big wreck.
Looks like somebody just got loose there, started fishtailing in front of the field. And there was nothing anybody could do from there. Jason S. Taylor looked like he was going to survive the situation. And then along came Cam Caldwell to change that course of history. Looks like RJ Root actually might have tapped the number 25. And that's what got him sideways to begin with. And from there, it was the wreck that never ends. Working their way down the backstretch, just more and more cars piling in and getting involved. And a punching bag for all of them, Jason S. Taylor, who got clobbered by a few guys there. To go on board with the 25. You see he got tagged in the corner, and then RJ Root just fishtailing everywhere is what set this off. And that was the long one at Texas, Ashton.
Absolutely, and this is something you see at Texas a lot, is guys get loose off of 2, or they're running their lines and they cut down on accident on a guy, and it's chaos. And that backstretch, they have to use the whole thing for their wrecks usually, and that's just unfortunate for the 25. Definitely a hard hit there into the wall going into 3, and he's got a lot of front end damage there. It's going to be a uphill battle for some of these drivers, and it's only lap 4.
And it's going to be, I would say, a primary concern for everybody involved in that wreck to stay on the lead lap. Okay, their cars are damaged, and they may not be super competitive now, but at the end of stage 2, when we get that final stage begin, and they get a free and fresh car, they're not going to have that damage. And they may still have a shot at winning the final stage, even if their car isn't quite competitive for the first 2. So as long as they can stay on the lead lap and put themselves in a position to really capitalize on that that new car that they're going to get, that's going to be good. they got to beat the pace car out. And of course, a lot of these guys still sitting on pit road. Jason S. Taylor sitting on pit road. R.J. Root in the number 8. Those two are in the pits as Jason Taylor's making his way out. He's going to beat the pace car, no problem. Pace car making its way out of turn 4, and R.J. Root still sitting in his stall. Maybe further issues for R.J. Root as the pace car makes its way onto the quad oval. Now the number 8 gets rolling, and he is going to beat the pace car as well. So everybody that was involved, Ashton, is still on the lead lap. We're just going to have to wait and see how competitive their cars are now.
And that's something that's going to be definitely an issue is they're making minimum speed here, and hopefully they don't go laps down, trying to hold on and keep a dog in this fight as we pace car lights are off. We are getting ready to go green. Gotta say, we got some strong front runners so far. No unfamiliar faces so far, but that could change.
Now, and it looks like Kevin Steele in that number 24 is looking to turn his season around. He's, by his own admission, had a season that's not really gone the way he wanted it to. A lot of bad luck, not bringing home the finishes that he was used to last season. But he's been on a bit of a roll lately. He's been slowly building up that castle, kind of getting that momentum built up. And now in the All-Star race, he is up front. He made some really good overtakes. He was battling it out with Adam Benefiel in that white and teal number 83. He's made himself a force in this race, and it's still early on, of course, so we'll have to see if he can get up here and duke it out with Delaney, Robert Miller, Cameron Stone, of course, like you said, all familiar faces to the front of the field. No surprise here. It is the all-star race. It is the drivers who have really achieved, I would say, the most in this league and really earned their spot in this event. As pace car makes the left-hand turn, it's going to be Delaney as the control car again. Where does he start him? He is going to start him just before the first turn of quad oval, and he's going to get a pretty good jump. But again, a little bit of wheel spin from the 57 and a lot of wheel spin from the 24, who has dropped 2 positions from his initial starting position. So, man, not a good restart for Kevin Steele, but he did find his way back to the bottom lane. He was able to slot in, which could be a bit of a saving grace. Now, right there, we see our leader, Jonathan Delaney. He's trying to break the draft, Ashton. He's diving down to the bottom of the track, trying to prevent Robert Miller from getting that slipstream effect. And before the update to the Aero, I'm not sure we really would have seen drivers doing that. How important did the draft feel when you were in these cars in the open, Ashton?
Oh, that draft definitely plays a big part, especially there on the backstretch, coming out of 3 and 4, and on that tri-oval, you'd have cars just really. That's where they were sucking up to each other with this Aero, and that's something that John Delaney is, as you see, he's trying to break the draft on the backstretch, and that's the biggest place where these guys, they get that run coming out too. If they've got the momentum, they hit that corner just right. It doesn't take much for him to pull up to you and then make a move going into 3 and 4, as we see Robert Miller trying to get alongside John Delaney here, trying to make that pass happen. It's super important, and not only that, but the tire wear, it's going to be harder and harder for John Delaney to hold off these hard chargers at the front as this race goes on.
Absolutely, and behind them, on the top right of your screen, you're looking at a battle between Cameron Stone and Bryson Hicks. Some boxing drivers very familiar with one another. They can't seem to get away from each other on the track sometimes, it would seem. In this race, in the All-Star race, no different. Cameron Stone made a great pass on the bottom. And it's kind of a little textbook pass, and it's exactly the kind of move that Robert Miller is going to have to try to make on Delaney. The 57 is going to block the 63. The 63 had a great run coming out of the corner, and Cameron Stone said, "I don't care about your run." He came down 2 lanes of the track just to block him. Then the 63 put the bumper to him. Now they're going to be side by side down the backstretch, and Bryson's going to lose that momentum. Cameron Stone continuing to play defense.
They were door to door right there in 1 and 2, which is really hard racing between some really strong competitors. And off track, they're all good buddies, but there is no mercy for each other when it comes down to the wire here while they're racing, especially at the All-Star race.
Absolutely, and looks like the number 63 was able to finally charge again and make that overtake. And it looks like this time it's going to stick. He's going to stay ahead of the 57, and now he's going to try to make a move on the 24. I'll tell you what, this is pretty crazy, Ashton. We see how hard it is to pass. I mean, you drove in the open, you know how hard it is to pass. Even the number 10, Robert Miller, can't quite get around our leader, and Benefield can't quite get around Robert Miller. But what I'm seeing out of that 63 is he's able to stick that car to the bottom, and he doesn't have to arc the corners like everybody else does. He enters high, but then coming out of the corner, he can stay on that white line and sacrifice almost no speed doing it. The rear end is sliding out on that machine. The front end absolutely gripping into the track as hard as they can. And you got to think that's wearing the tires out quite a bit, but with this race being so short, maybe that's the hot ticket. I think whatever the 63 team found with that setup, it is absolutely one of the cars to be reckoned with tonight.
Absolutely, and it's just really about finding the right place to make these passes. It's not impossible to pass here, but it's just very difficult. But the 63 of Bryson Higginbotham definitely making it look easy as he passes Adam Benefield here for the lead, or not the lead, but third. Sorry, we're about to have a battle for the lead if Robert Miller can figure out how to get around John Delaney, but he better figure it out quick because yeah, that 63 is coming and he is closing the gap on the leaders, and John Delaney can only hope that maybe he just holds them off behind him long enough that they wear out their tires and they don't have the grip levels to make these passes like the 63 is doing as he is coming up on him in the trial one. He is there. You can throw a blanket on the top three. It's going to be it's going to be an interesting race for sure.
It absolutely is, and it has been so far. As now, looks like Benefield's starting to come to life a little bit there. He gained a little bit of speed as the number 63 machine went through the corner. That 83 just sent it in there, got up to his bumper. Now he fell back a little bit more, but this is about to be a 4-car race for the lead once these two get a little closer. And honestly, Cameron Stone, he's right there with Benefield. So we kind of had some predictions from some of the drivers we talked to that it was going to be a little bit of pack racing, perhaps. Drafting very important, not much separation. And I think that is exactly what we are seeing tonight. These cars not really getting away from each other. We've got pretty much 6 cars under a blanket, like you said, and it is just been intense. But we do have a car going a lap down. That is going to be the number 25, Cameron Caldwell, who, I'll tell you what, he has been struggling with that car on that car. Every time he's gone through a corner since the drop of the green flag, he has gotten sideways, and he's had to correct it. Definitely seems like that team missed the mark on the setup, and it's costing them dearly. But I gotta wonder if maybe Cameron Caldwell was using this race as a bit of a test run. It's an all-star race. There's no points on the line. There's nothing really on the line except for a little bit of money and some bragging rights. It's not really crucial to your overall season how you do here. So perhaps Cameron Caldwell saw this race and he thought, you know what? I'm going to try some stuff with the setup. I'm going to really throw the wrench at this car, and I'm going to do some crazy things, and I'm going to see how it plays out for me. And obviously, we can see that it's not working out too well, but that's information that he now has. That's definitely something that could be happening as Cameron Stone is going to get to the bottom of the number 63, and they're going to be side by side through the quadruple. That was close, Ashton. I did not know if the 57 was going to back out of that, if he was going to stay in the throttle and force the issue, and it looked like he forced the issue.
Well, if you know Cameron Stone, and we do, he was definitely not going to see a gap there and not stick his nose in it and try to make it work. And that is something that we love about Cameron Stone, is he is bold, to say the least.
Absolutely, he is definitely bold. And that overtake was pretty much flawless, as now RJ Root is going to be going a lap down. So these drivers that, it was really important for them to stay on the lead lap, they are slowly falling victim to the clutches of our leaders. And that is unfortunate. And really, we're not getting many cautions in this event. We pretty much stayed green for a good amount of time now, save for that one incident. And
speaking of our leaders, John Delaney kind of pulling a little bit away here, still not completely out of it yet, as Robert Miller and Adam Benefield are battling for second. Cameron Stone about to join that battle. Bryson Higginbotham is kind of falling off a little bit here. I gotta say, tires just wore out quick. He's got a lot of short run speed there.
Well, and I can't say that it surprises me, Ashton, with the amount of passing he was doing with But as fast as that car was for a little while, you know that comes at the cost of using your equipment up faster than everybody else. So he was a rocket ship for a little while. Now it seems like he is paying for that as we have a massive free-for-all for second place. Cameron Stone right on the bumper of the 83, who has been side-by-side with Robert Miller for the last lap. And I got to say, it's not very often here at Texas to see two cars stay side-by-side for that long. Usually the bottom lane is the preferred place to be, and you can get such good runs there that anybody on the outside can't really compete. But Robert Miller not only stayed side-by-side with Benefield, he actually defended the position, and he is going to remain in second place.
Absolutely incredible driving skill being showcased here tonight. And when you think about the no holds barred mentality of the All-Star race, these drivers are really going to they're going to go at it, and just impressive for them to go side by side like that and have 4 cars battling for the, what would you call it, the catbird seat pretty much. And the aero definitely playing a factor here in bringing these cars close together. You see they're spread out now after that battle for second, but the aero is definitely going to bring them back together, and having them side by side like that is what young John Delaney wants to see, as he has got a sizable lead now on second and third place. It's closed up a little bit, but I believe it's, as he crosses the line here, it's going to show him at about half a second on Robert Miller. So he definitely got a little bit of a gap. He's probably wanting to see him go side by side battling for second again, because that just kind of cements his lead.
Yeah, he is absolutely flying right now. It's not very often you see anybody with this aero package of this track really start to break away. At least we haven't seen it really yet tonight. We didn't see it in the open, and we haven't seen it here. Brian Branham, he got a little ways out in the open there in stage 2, but not quite to the extent of Delaney, and that would be huge for that number 9 car. If he could get far out enough to really get the number 10 out of his draft, get him out of the slipstream, that would mean that Delaney's kind of free to try and pull away and not be towing these cars behind him around the track. That would be quite beneficial, but still that number 10 is just clinging on to that drafting distance, I would say. If he loses another couple tenths, he might fall out of it, but right now he is there. He's going to be able to continue to use that slipstream as he battles it out with Benefield, who is running very similar pace, but a very different line. I've noticed the 83 has a tendency to go into the corners a little bit lower than some of the cars ahead of him. He tends to enter low, stay low, and then drift up coming out of the corner, which is kind of unconventional for turn 1. See, the number 10 kind of enters higher and exits higher, which is the traditional line that we've seen out of everybody, but we'll just have to see how that
Bryson
plays out.
Hixenbaugh get loose there coming out of 4. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He is running way lower than these guys, and I mean, he's not even taking as high of an angle to arc it in as the 10 and the 57. They're 10 in front of him, the 57 behind him. And Texas, I wouldn't say, is one of those traditional mile and a halves where you're trying to keep it on that white line and just kind of hug that apron. But I mean, it's definitely an interesting strategy. We'll see how it plays out the rest of the race, as John Delaney, I believe, has won stage 1 here in the All-Star race.
And it is going to be young Jonathan Delaney who is going to take the stage win and make him a little bit of money, as there's a payout for each stage. And of course, Delaney now doing some drifts in the corner, and around he goes. Now we are on to the feature event here. So we're going to be grinning up once more. This is the Heat 1 results. Jonathan Delaney taking the win, of course. Robert Miller P2, Adam Benefield 3rd, Cameron Stone in 4th, Bryson Hixenbaugh 5th, Dustin Hall 6th, Derek Castor 7th, making his league debut, Mason Lowry 8th, Ryan Samuelson 9th, Kevin Steele running at your top 10. Take them on back, Ashton.
We got RJ Root, or hold on, I'm a little mixed up here. I apologize, guys. Technical difficulties. Cody Burden 11th, Matthew Gaskins 12th, Damaris Hickenbottom 13th, Jason Taylor 14th, Raymond Root 15th, and Cameron Caldwell is going to round us out with 16th place.
And so we are inverting the grid for this segment of the race. So basically, if you won the last stage, which Jonathan Delaney did, you're going to be starting dead last, and that is going to be quite a tall order for these guys to get through the field and make this amount of overtakes, although we know that some of these cars are crazy fast, and this can be a bit of a saving grace for a few of these drivers who, got involved in incidents early on in the first stage. But let's go ahead and try to bring in our stage winner, Jonathan Delaney. Have a word with him. Jonathan Delaney, you got a copy?
I do, guys. I do.
Well, John, it was a dominant segment 1 win. You got out to the lead and you never looked back. You were continually pulling away from the guys behind. How's the car feeling out there tonight?
It's really, really good. A bit loose off exit, but it feels really good. It has a lot of speed in it.
Well, with that stage win and the grid being reversed, you're going to be starting this segment at the back of the field. You got a lot of cars to pass. You're going to have to get around 15 competitors to get back up front. What's going to be the play here? How are you going to make these passes?
I'm not too sure, really. I think this is just my opinion, but I think there's going to be a wreck here, just with the invert. I think everyone's going to be pushing really, really hard to get their spots back, and with that people are going to push it a little too hard, push past the limit of the car and themselves, and they're just there's going to be some contact made, and there's going to be a few cars taken out. So if that does happen, try and avoid the wreck. And just hopefully pick them off one at a time, and hopefully be there at that last stage for that 10-lap shootout.
Absolutely. Well, the lights are off on the pace car, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put you back up in your team chat. Good luck with the rest of the race, John, and congrats on the segment 1 win.
Roger.
That was your segment 1 winner, Jonathan Delaney. And he was feeling pretty confident in that car, Ash, and he said it feels pretty good. A little loose off, but I think everybody and their brother's dealing with that. I don't think that's a problem exclusive to that number 9 team. We've seen a lot of cars get squirrely coming out of these corners.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how that 9 car, he was up front the whole race, had that clean air. It's going to be interesting in this stage to see how his car and Robert Miller and a couple of these guys handle being back in the pack in that dirty air. I think it's gonna affect him a little different, but he's $40 richer, bragging about it in the race chat, and we'll see if he can winner take all, win the All-Star race, and get the bragging rights to go with it.
Absolutely. We're just gonna have to wait and see. It would be pretty impressive if somebody were to win all 3 segments and bring home all of the money there is to make, but the cars are all out and away. And it is going to be number 25, Cam Coble, out to an early lead.
As we see Cameron Stone having another botched restart there. A lot of racing through the field here with this invert.
The 79 big wiggle.
Cameron Stone also going around at the back.
Oh, man. No caution yet. We're waiting to see it. He's parked on the backstretch. That's gonna have to be a yellow flag, I would assume. No, he is gonna tow it, and that is gonna keep this race green. So Jonathan Delaney, in a way, his prediction was correct. We saw a wreck, but it did not bring out the caution. So, man, that shook things up for sure.
Interesting to note that I believe the cautions are race controlled, not iRacing controlled tonight, so a lot looser than normal.
And it looks like Cameron was just underneath Jonathan Delaney, and he got a little loose on that white line. Had to chase it up the track, and it just got away from him. Again, this aero package, there's kind of a bubble around these cars, and they are very easy to disturb as we go 3 wide. Jonathan Delaney, Robert Miller, and Matthew Gaskins. 3 wide going into the corner. They were able to sort it out before the corner exit. That was happening just at the tail end of your screen. You guys really might have barely caught that. That was a scary moment as Jonathan Delaney now trying to get around Matthew Gaskins, and out front, look at this battle here. We have Kevin Steele, Bryson Hickson-Bob, bumper to bumper. These two trying to get up front and try to get around RJ Root and Cameron Caldwell, but I'm noticing a lot of improvement out of that 25 team, Ashton. We kind of talked about how it looked like his team missed the mark with the setup in segment 1. He's probably got the same setup right now. I don't think he made any changes, or that I don't even think he could make changes. Oh, and as I say that, a big slide out of the 25. Maybe
Little loose.
maybe waiting for the
They're
track
off
to
of
turn
turn
a little bit more, but I mean, I can't imagine it's going to get much cooler. That 25 really sliding around, and that's got to be a scary sight. It's never fun as a driver when the guy ahead of you is just kind of getting sideways and fishtailing it, and you don't know quite where they're going to go, and that is exactly what Bryson Nixonbaugh and Kevin Steele are dealing with, and Benefiel, who is right behind them, making himself a part of this party as well. So we get a little bit of a slide out of Kevin Steele, and man, this battle's heating up, Ashton.
Absolutely, and it's just all the drivers in the top 10 are just nose to tail right now, side by side, and just can't get away from each other. And that's the beauty of inverting the field. It really shakes things up and puts these guys on their toes. As Adam Benefield making a crazy move there on Kevin Steele, trying to get around him and get going for third and second place, which Bryson Nixonbaugh is putting under attack right now. And it's just a lot of crazy racing here in stage 2. I believe Cameron Stone is out of the car and has put it behind the wall for tonight, and that's just unfortunate for that team. I know they had a lot of speed, especially in practice. But we've got a race on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, and John Delaney making a pass on Robert Miller and Mason Lowry. We saw Mason Lowry have a straw car, a little bit of an unstable car in the open, but he is not quite as we see John Delaney making moves, putting the nose in like we saw Cameron Stone do in stage 1, just trying to get back up there.
And here we go with a pass for the lead. Bryson Nixonbaugh on the outside. He's been trying to make this work for a little while now. He's got 25 underneath of him, and that 25 still looking as loose as ever. Cameron Caldwell doing a phenomenal job to keep that car going in the right direction. Looks like it is fighting him at every step, and now a huge bump from Adam Benefiel is going to give him a shove. And that might be enough to get clear of Bryson. No, Bryson stays on the outside. And this
We have
battle
a car loose in turn 2. Number 37 of Jason S. Taylor. I believe he got that collected up and going. But man,
contact! Benefiel into the outside wall. He's going to gather it up. Not too much damage. A little bit of damage. But the number 25 got loose again. He's been loose all day long, just struggling with that car. The 83 tried to follow Bryson on the high line, tried to let him open that door for him and follow him through. But as he was making the pass, Cameron Caldwell got squirrely again, came up into the door of the 83, and now the 83 goes around
Big
again.
Rick.
Huge impact.
Adam Benefiel in the wall.
Kevin Steele,
stuck in the wall.
Damaris Hickenbottom and Cody Bird also involved. Huge hits all around. And you got to think. Hold on. Let's take a look at the replay here. Let's see exactly what happens. That's the number 1 of Dustin Hall. He's got Cody Bird in 13 behind him. This is going into turns 1 and 2 with Jason S. Taylor behind him in tow. And as they make their way onto the backstretch, the 83 is already spinning. And it looked like maybe contact with Kevin Steele. I'm not sure what initiated it. We're going to take another look. So this is following along with the 83. There in the center of your screen, he's ahead of Lowry. He's between Damaris and Lowry, going through 1 and 2. Everything seems fine, but then, that was it. A little bit of a wiggle out of Damaris. And I don't think Benefiel could have done anything different there.
I believe what started that was the 42 clipped the apron, slid up into Kevin. They got loose. 42 checked up, and Adam Benefiel gave the 9 a push, and that was it. They all just got collected there. It's just unfortunate, just a chain reaction, and it was a minute drift up by the 42. It wasn't even that much, but these guys, they're so close, side by side racing. That's all it takes here at Texas. They're all trying to crowd for as low as they can get around Texas, because that is the preferred way to get around the track. That is the preferred line, and just unfortunate bunch of drivers. As Adam Benefiel, I believe, is out, telling the drivers good luck right now. I believe he's done for the night. Damaris having more bad luck, and that's the thing, we weren't even on him camera-wise, so broadcaster curse not in effect, just bad luck at that point.
Absolutely. Well, we not to cut you off there, Ashton, but we do have some drivers in the infield care center. We're going to go ahead and try to get these guys up here. Kevin Steele, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Kevin, I didn't quite expect to have you back in the booth this soon. Unfortunately, a bit of an accordion effect. It was kind of the end of many drivers' nights there. Walk me through what happened.
Well, we made a little bit of an adjustment there at the end of stage one, and it was better. But we were slow on the straights. We were good in turn 1 and 2, but we got caught on the outside, and I believe it was Derek Castor was on the inside of me, and I didn't give him that much room, but he drifted up the track and got into me, and I was completely sideways. I had it saved, and then Damaris got caught up into it, and he shot into me, and I don't know how many people got caught up, but yeah, it was just kind of a chain reaction, one little mistake when we're racing in a pack like that, but it was fun while it lasted.
And while it lasted, indeed. Again, it just seems like it didn't take much. Everybody's so close, like Ashton pointed out when it happened. Everybody's just so close. There's not much room for error. One guy gets a little bit squirrely. And the 42, what happened there was the 42 got sideways in front of you guys just a little bit. And I mean, he gathered it up immediately. I mean, it was a perfect save, but everybody's so close, it just no reaction time. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there was probably about 5 or 6 other accidents that happened before that we were somehow able to save. Everybody getting into one another. It's just like we said, in the open. There's one lane, but when all these cars are packed into it and everybody's fighting for it, you just got to take every little inch you can get, and sometimes you take a bit too much. So, unfortunate, not the way we wanted to end it, but yeah, good luck to all the guys still out there. I see Bryson's leading, of course. That's awesome. But hopefully one of these guys can take it to him, make it a good show.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin, thanks for your time, and we're sorry your night came to such an early end there.
Thanks, boys. Have fun up there.
Absolutely. All right, we got a few more drivers in the infield care center. We got to get through these guys. Damaris Higginbottom, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, Damaris, I can confirm we did not curse you there. We hadn't had the camera on you when that one happened. Unfortunately, it was just an accordion effect with the 42 car getting a little bit squirrely in front of you. Walk me through what happened there from your perspective.
Yeah, man, I think you just talked to Kevin. I think, I mean, look, it was, we were nose to tail, man. It was hard racing. I got shuffled to the back there off after the invert. And I don't know, man. I saw the 42 wiggle. I went back and watched the replay. I can tell he kind of, he just barely put the left front on the apron and got up into Kevin. And I saw him check up, and I checked up. And of course, you know how it goes, man. The 83 behind me didn't have as much time as I did, and the 56, so on and so forth. And we almost made it if I almost got through the gap there when I got pushed up, but Kevin was sideways trying to save his car, and then all hell broke loose after that, man. But it was a ball before that happened.
It definitely looked like a lot of fun before that, a lot of pack racing, a lot of bumping and rubbing. I mean, Kevin pointed out in his interview, there was about 5 or 6 wrecks that never happened before that, that maybe should have turned into something, but everybody was able to gather it up. We got a lot of cars left in this race, and it should be a lot of fun to watch. It's just a shame that you and a few others there were, taken out of it, especially given the good runs that you guys were having there.
Yeah, man. We're gonna sit back. We're gonna sit here on the pit box and watch the rest and how it unfold. Man, there's been some hard racing in the open in this race, so we're just gonna sit back and enjoy. And hopefully, the guys put on the show.
Absolutely. Well, Damaris, thanks for your time, and we're sorry your night ended like that. It was really unfortunate.
Yeah, just one of them racing deals, man.
All right. Thanks again. That was Damaris Higginbottom also involved. Let's go ahead and as the race goes green, we're going to get to the other guys in there in just a moment. But it is Bryson who's going to get a huge gap on the restart. And unfortunately, for everybody behind, that's a scary sight. Usually when you see that 63 get out front, that is all you see for a long time. But we'll have to see how this stage plays out as we got maybe a little bit of contact there between Delaney and what I believe is a number 8. Yeah, RJ Reek there. But all right, let's go ahead and try to get to another driver in the infield care center. Ashton, how about you take it away with Adam Benefield?
All right, Adam, you got a copy?
Yeah, man.
Well, not the way you want to end your night here at the All-Star race. Can you give us a little bit of a run through of what happened there?
Well, it's man, it was crazy. It was fun. I mean, it was really fun. It was crazy. It was. I knew it was going to have to be aggressive. There was going to be some major moves being thrown. I'm pretty proud of my stage 1 lap 1 elevator ride that I did on Robert Miller. So I was proud of that. But dude, man, it was fun. We had a stupid fast car. Felt like we should have won the. God dang it! My teammate just got wrecked.
Yeah, we got an incident breaking out on track there. Looks like the number 1 Dustin Hall. A few other drivers I'm trying to identify. Looks like RJ Root in the 42 again involved. We're going to take a look at a replay there, but I'm sorry to interrupt you there, Ash. Not Ashton, Adam Benefield. A names. There's too many A names in the chat.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's just let's watch the replay.
Absolutely, and the interesting thing in your situation there, Adam, was that really you were caught up in that, and you maybe wouldn't have. You were involved in an incident prior to that with the 25, where he kind of drifted up the track a little bit. He was chasing his car. He got into you, and that pushed you further back into the pack, which kind of resulted in you being in a position to be collected by that.
Yeah.
Very, very unfortunate. It seemed like your car was really fast out there, and I noticed one thing I got to ask you, because I pointed it out on the broadcast and we were all kind of watching. You were running a lot different line than some of these guys out here. I would notice you'd go into the corner a little bit lower and you'd stick it a little bit lower, and it seemed to work for your car. You never really washed up the track, never seemed to have to, chase it up the track. The car was pretty good before that all happened, huh?
Yeah, what it is, we were trimmed out, obviously, kind of the short run, so we was getting it trimmed out as best we could, and I noticed that everybody kept going into the corners and overdriving turn 1. In turn 3, everybody's flat out, don't really matter. But turn 1, they would just overdrive it and arc it too much. And I mean, hell, that's clean air down there. So the car would just light up real good, and I was able to get a great run up off the corner. And then the straightaway speed that we had was next level. Dustin put together an ungodly car for this race. It was the fastest thing I've ever drove around here, and it showed. I mean, like I said, I think we could have won stage 1. I think Robert's pride was on the line there, and so he races pretty hard, and I felt like we were going to win stage 2, and I think it was going to come down between me and Bryson. Honest to God, Delaney was fast, but I just think me and Bryson was a little bit better than him. So it probably would have been another Bryson and Adam show, but deal with Caldwell happened. Don't really know what, like, I'm still mind boggled on that one. And then back there, Castor it's so easy to do here. The car turns, you get in there and the car turns better than you expect, and you just hit that left front off the apron, and it was just a chain reaction. So no hard feelings. I hate that it took out a few good cars and Demarius. But we'll be here next week. Wherever we're at next week, we'll be here.
I believe you said it was Kentucky, right, Adam?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Kentucky,
it's
though.
Nashville. It's Nashville.
Yeah, I mean they're close enough. They're kind of the same place.
Yeah. I'll probably be on a Kentucky setup. So.
Oh, there you go. I hope these guys are taking notes at so
I mean, Adam out here giving away the team secrets. Just you want to be as fast as Team Conti, just run the complete wrong setup for the track.
Whatever makes it work.
All right, well, I'm gonna show up to Talladega with a Martinsville setup. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it might. Hell, it might work.
All right, Adam. Well, we got the race about to go back green. We got a couple more drivers we got to get to. A lot of drivers in the infield care center, but we thank you for your time, and we're sorry your race came to an end like that. That was a series of unfortunate events that ended up taking you out of that one. That was really rough to watch.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me come here and talk. Real quick, I got to give a big shout out to DEP Paints, man. He had me looking frosty, is what all the guys in the server was saying. I was looking frosty, so I don't know that. To me, that's a good thing. I was looking sexy, if you ask me. So car looked good. Car felt fast. Dustin Hall's OP setup builder. Thanks to everybody. WR1's Team Conti. You guys, this is awesome. Love you guys. We'll see y'all next week.
All right. Again, thanks for your time, Adam, and I'm going to go ahead and put you back in your team chat.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That was Adam Benefiel involved in that incident, and man, we still got some drivers we got to get through here, Ashton. Normally we can't
No
pay these guys to
shortage
get in
of
the
drivers.
infield care center, but now this week they all want to be in there. We're going to get to them after the drop of the green because the lights are off on the pace car. And it is going to be Bryson and Delaney leading the way. Two very fast cars tonight. Ryan Samuelson made his way up to the second row. He's got a little bit of front left damage on my end, but that shouldn't hold him up too much. Robert Miller inside row 2, and Cameron Caldwell, who, tell you what, of all the cars to really have almost no damage, I would not have expected it to be that 25. He has been sideways so much, struggling with that setup, but he has just really kept it underneath him. He's done a phenomenal job tonight. I can't praise his driving enough. I mean, how evil that car looks, color me impressed that he's doing as well as he is. Bryce Nixonball with a huge jump, but maybe not as big as normal, because now he's only got about a car length gap over second place Delaney, and Robert Miller with a great start, actually. He's going to get to the bottom of the number 9. He's going to take second position. The 9 car going to slot down into the bottom there, and behind them, you got a battle for 5th between Cameron Caldwell and Jason S. Taylor, who, again, was involved in that incident there in the first segment, but now with a fresh car, he's been given a second chance. And we got a battle for the lead, Ashton.
Yep, as we see the number 10 almost take the nose across the back end of 63. He's going to go high here with John Delaney pushing. As John Delaney drops down, kind of takes him out there. We'll see if the 10 can make this stick coming out of 2. If he can get that drive off on 2, and he does. He makes the pass on the high side. The 9 in tow behind him. Bryson Nixonball going to drop to 3rd place here, and that is impressive. That is something we've seen these guys like Bryson and Robert try all night to make that high side work, and Robert Miller getting it done here. And
Absolutely.
just impressive.
Yeah,
As the 9 following suit, trying to do the same thing now on the next lap. These drivers are getting a little bold on the top side, and we said that it wasn't impossible, but it was difficult to make passes anywhere but the bottom lane, but here we are.
Absolutely. That number 10 machine, it's whatever he did with that setup, man, it's different because, like you said, actually, we've not seen that many passes on the outside. But the number 10, he's able to defend on the high line. He can overtake on the high line, just speed everywhere on the track for that car. But we're going to try to bring in another driver from the infield care center because we just got a ever-expanding backlog, it would seem, of drivers. We're going to bring in Cameron Stone. You got a copy?
Sir.
Well, Cam, it was a rough second segment for a lot of drivers, as evidenced by the fact that the infield care center got a little bit too crowded. Texas Motor Speedway said we might be breaking the COVID protocol. How many drivers were in there? So walk me through what happened there, Cam.
I mean, we ran pretty good in that first stage. Ended up finishing 4th and had to start the second one from the back. And just sailed her off down to turn 1. Robert was pretty tight up on the rear bumper, and John run down on the door, and it's kind of the same thing. I had done it to Bryson already in the race. He'd get to my inside, and I run down on his door, and it made him loose. It's the same thing that happened to me. So basically just aero-dependent car, just losing all the aero. And if I'd have tried to save it, I'd have probably took out Robert because he dove and tried to go to the outside. So tried to lock her down on the apron, and then it just shot back up the track, nosed it in the fence, and that's pretty much it for my day.
Absolutely. Now before this race, maybe I shouldn't be exposing confidential secrets here, but you had told me explicitly that you were going to wreck Kevin Steele in this race. That was your goal. Well, in a way, you sort of did. Not exactly the way you would have wanted to. Any solace taken in that fact, though, that you took him with you?
Well, the crazy thing is, I wanted to wreck Kevin, but I didn't even have to. Kevin just died. So I don't know if I've got telekinetic powers or if I'm just giving off that bad juju. Ricky Bobby, but I don't really know what's going on with the Apex cars, man. We've been struggling the last few weeks, and then of course I had to come in here and give my big shout out to iRacing for giving us nice cold tire physics on oval cars, which is a little OP in my opinion, and then also the aero dependency going on. But yeah, Kevin just did my hard work for me. So he's gonna beat me. I guess I could go out on track and turn some laps and pass him. So I might do that.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. No points or anything on the line. Just kind of a so you can say you did it sort of situation. But we appreciate you hopping into the infield care center, and we're sorry your race ended the way it did. But hopefully next week we're talking to you again under a little bit better circumstances.
I hope so. Hope to see Robert go out there and whoop everybody.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, again, thanks for your time, and we'll catch you later, Ken.
See you.
And that was Cameron Stone out of the booth.
Tense
And now,
battle for the lead going on underway during that interview. The 9 car finally got around Bryson, took him a few laps, but he finally made it happen on the high side like Robert did, and he is now trying to make the high side work again and get around the 10 car for the lead here.
And look at that. Here comes Jason Taylor. He's part of this party as well. He's going to go 2 wide, 2 rows deep. And here comes Bryson. Is he going to go 3 wide for the lead? He does. The 63 to the bottom now, 3 wide per second as the 10 falls through the field. He's going to let off the throttle. What a move by Bryson, but that put the number 10 in a very precarious situation. And now contact between Ryan Samuelson and the number 10. They're going to stay 3 wide through the quad oval. What does Robert Miller do? He stays in the middle. 37 actually concedes the position by letting off the throttle, and now the 10 coming down the track. The number 16 did not arc into the corner like Robert Miller was expecting him to, and that almost led to some contact, but luckily they were able to survive it. And in all of this chaos, that's allowing our 2 leaders to pull away a little bit. We got Jonathan Delaney and Bryson Hicksonbaugh starting to drive away with it now, which, again, in the first segment there, Ashton, it was just the number 9 car driving away, but now looks like a bit of a 2-car breakaway is in order.
And you can't... Aero is what caused that 10 to drop back there. Because cars being nose to tail like that, you had a couple lines form. It was almost like a mini Talladega where they just kind of parted the seas there, and the 10 had nobody behind him pushing like these other 2 lines did. And he just dropped back, and he's rallied now. He's catching the leaders again, but yeah, that was something we saw Robert Miller get out there while the 63 and the 9 battled. But then as soon as the 9 cleared the 63, he just really drew the 10 back in there, reeled him in, and just some hard racing throughout the entire field. The entire field is right there at the lead, so
they really
9
are.
cars there, and they are putting on a...
Absolutely. That number 10, I'm sure you saw it there, Ashton. He had a moment there. He got so squirrely. I was thinking he was about to lose it, but he gathered it up, and he is really right back in the game. A lot of momentum through 1 and 2. Look how much he closed that gap. He went from 5 or 6 car lengths back to only about 1.5. That was a lot of speed through the corner for that number 10. Let's see if he can emulate that through 3 and 4. It looks like maybe not, as Jason S. Taylor is trying to make something happen here. For 3rd, diving down to the bottom now. He is all over the track looking for speed anywhere he might be able to find it. And remember, what a story that'd be if Jason Taylor was able to win this All-Star event, or even a segment of it, because he bumped in from the open. He was not even locked into this race going in, and now a huge block from Delaney. The 63 down the track to the apron, and boy, oh boy, Jonathan, oh, it ain't over yet. Here he goes up the track with a shove from Bryson there, 3 wide for the lead. The number 9 car on the outside, the number 10 car in the middle. Bryson trying to make it through on the bottom, and Jason Taylor trying to give a shove to the number 9. How are they going to sort this one out, Ashton?
I can't believe the 9 kept it going there, but it slowed him and the 63 down a lot, gave the 10 a lot of momentum there. The 37's going to clear the 63. Bryson back to 4th. The 9 seems to be struggling in the corners here. 3 and 4 now, losing a lot of momentum, and these guys are just making passes on him. The 37 is actually going to take 2nd away if the 9 isn't careful. Robert Miller pulling away again. You see that as they battle side by side, he is just able to drive away. And I cannot believe they made that corner being side by side, that close, crowding each other in 1 and 2. This is absolutely hard racing, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're not on the edge of your seats, we sure are up here in the booth.
Absolutely. I really thought they doored each other in that corner, Ashton. I really thought there was contact. Oh, and there might have been contact there between Jason Taylor and Bryson as they come through 1 and 2. Good gracious, this 37 is on a mission.
Jason Taylor actually saying that Bryson knocked in his fender there a little bit, so a little bit of contact, but they are just so tight racing here. John Delaney has caught the leader again of Robert Miller. It can't help but think, if this is how they are in the 40-lap stint, imagine what it's going to be like in the 10-lap shootout here at the end for stage 3. We may have the big one happen, and we thought the big one happened earlier, Andre.
Yeah, this is getting pretty crazy. I cannot believe that those drivers were able to keep their cars sorted. That seemed like a wreck waiting to happen, but luckily everybody able to kind of work their way through. Unfortunately, Jason Taylor is sort of falling through the pack now as he's kind of burned up his equipment, and now we got Jonathan Delaney right up on the bumper of the number 10. He had to let off the throttle a little bit there. I got him a little bit sideways now. Is that going to open up the door for Bryson in that 63? We're going to find out. He is going to come through 3 and 4, and Delaney's going to hold on a second. Looks like the number 10, maybe not the fastest car on the track right now, but it's kind of crazy, Ashton. It seems like being out front is not where you want to be, because when you give the cars behind you that draft, it is a huge help to them. And they get these huge runs, just like the number 9 did, down to the bottom of the track. He's going to try to retake the lead from Robert Miller. Now, Robert is really good on that high line. We've seen him defend the lead from that line before. The question is, can he do it now? The tires are a little bit older than the first time he pulled this maneuver off, and so the car is not going to be quite as quick up there. But despite that, he came down the track, side drafted Delaney a little bit, just enough to keep him side by side, just enough to keep him from getting clear, and that may have been enough. The 10 car with a huge run through the quad oval, headed into turns 1 and 2. They're going to stay side by side, and Bryson kind of being the control car, choosing who to give a little bit of draft up to his contact. The number 10 doors into the number 9, or maybe vice versa. As we ride along with Bryson Nixon by, that's a front row seat to all of this action. My goodness, Ashton, this is not even giving us a break to breathe.
Absolutely not. And I don't think we've been watching this exciting of a race since Darlington and that finish we had. And while this is all happening at the front, look who's coming back for another charge. The 37 and the 16 of Ryan Samuelson. They are back in this as John Delaney gets a little bit of a lead, but I think you're right, Andre. I think being out front, these drivers, usually dirty air is not something you want to be in, but it seems like being in the pack, being in that dirty air, that is just giving them all kinds of momentum and just giving them these crazy runs here at Texas.
Absolutely. Well, we got one more driver in the infield care center. We're going to bring him up. Cody Bird, you got a copy?
Yep, got a copy.
Well, Cody, you were having a pretty good run before the big one at Texas happened. It seemed like one little bobble happened with a car towards the front of the train, and then all of a sudden it was just an accordion effect, and everybody behind him just kind of piled in. Walk me through what happened there.
I think I was checked up enough. I was going to be okay, and then just got ran into the back of. No biggie, though. I mean, I was having a blast out there. Was not having a good race. Didn't get any chance to practice until today. But hey, the whole purpose of it was to have fun, which I did. So can't complain.
Absolutely. So I would imagine that since you've been out of the event here, you've been watching it like the rest of us. What's your take on this racing, Cody? Because from up in the booth, it's been quite a show that you guys were putting on and are putting on right now with this race for the lead and all the constant battling.
Oh, I thought it's been great. I mean, I was having fun. Obviously, the 500 horsepower definitely helps with keeping the field bunched up, which leads to exciting racing. So I mean, it's I actually quit out about 2 cautions ago. first race I DQ'd. But yeah, no, I mean, it's been exciting.
Absolutely. And now we got a caution on the track. It is the stage break, and it is going to be Jonathan Delaney who won the second segment. So coming all the way back up through from the reverse grid order, he's going to take this stage win, followed by Robert Miller, Bryson Ixenbaugh, Jason Taylor, Ryan Samuelson, Cameron Caldwell, Mason Lowry, Dustin Hall, Matthew Gaskin, and rounding out your top 10 is going to be the currently out of the race, RJ Root. So 9 cars left on track. Those are where they finished. But anyways, back to Cody here. You talked about how great this racing has been and how the 500 horsepower really helps to keep everybody bunched up. What was the key out there? What was the most important thing? Was it just kind of knowing when to make your move and when to be patient, or was it just trying to go all out every chance you got?
Oh, you just had to send it every chance you got. Texas is a very hard track to pass on. I give Matthew Gaskins a lot of props for doing that pass, what he did in the Open. But I think just with the way the racing's been, you just got to go for it because it is so hard to pass.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to try to get to an interview with our second stage winner here. But we thank you for your time, Cody, and hopefully next week we're talking to you under a little better circumstances. We'll hopefully be talking to you for like a stage win.
Funny.
And now, have some confidence. You're going to get there. All right. Again, thanks for your time, Cody. All right. That was Cody Bird out of the booth. And everybody's going to get those 4 fresh good years. And what a stage that was. Again, I mentioned how impressive it would be for Delaney to come up through the field from the reverse grid order and actually manage to get the second segment win. And man, he actually managed to pull it off. Seems like that 9 car is on rails, but he's not the only one, Ashton. I feel like even though it's been the Delaney show all day long, there's a lot of drivers that could still get this final 10-lap dash. There's a lot of drivers that have cars that are just as good, if not maybe a little bit better sometimes. And they're going to have fresh tires and all the ability to try to make something happen here in the last 10 laps.
Absolutely. We got the fresh tires, and we saw Jason S. Taylor, Ryan Samuelson. I mean, they're up there too. It's not just the Bryson, Robert, John Delaney show anymore. It is anybody's race here tonight. It's interesting for sure, as I believe we're going to interview the stage winner, John Delaney.
Absolutely. We're going to bring him down here. Jonathan Delaney, you got a copy? Well, John, you did it again. You got another stage win. Now you're headed into this 10-lap dash. What is the game plan? Playing a lot of defense here?
Oh, yeah. Try and hug the bottom. Keep the bottom. Try not to, get past. Try and keep them behind me in the dirty air. So yeah, that's really the goal going into this, and we're gonna have maybe close to 10-lap shootout here. So it's gonna be probably just as exciting, if not more, these last 10 laps than it was the first 40.
Absolutely, and we know your car's fast.
You are definitely a lot richer than when you came into this race. Love the paint scheme. You said that you're gonna hug the bottom here, but this last stage we saw you guys using the top lane quite a bit and making it work. Any tips or tricks to doing that here at Texas?
Well, really the only way to run the top is to pinch the person on the bottom, pinch them, and just hopefully they get tight. And also, getting through the quarter and just side drafting them. The new aero update they iRacing added last week, or I guess this week on Monday, Monday. The Cup cars got a new aero update, and side draft is a lot more powerful now. So if you can get to someone's quarter, you can stall their run and try and pull up or make a run on them and all that stuff. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens here.
Well, hopefully you don't get pinched down on the bottom there as we get ready to go green here. I believe we have one more lap. But
light should be going off
good luck to you out there,
time.
John Delaney. Hopefully you sweep the All-Star race here. That'd be impressive for sure.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, John. That was second segment winner, Jonathan Delaney, as the lights do go out on the pace car. And Ashton, it's been quite a night of racing. We had a lot of crazy moments in the open, a lot of drama there, some drivers that were able to fight and claw their way in, and some drivers that missed out. And now, of course, in the All-Star race, seems like it's just been one thing after another, constant battles, constant drafting, a lot of overtakes, and now it all comes down to just 10 laps. Hardly any time at all. Should take them just a little over 5 minutes for these 10 laps, but it's going to be the longest 5 minutes in the world for a lot of these drivers.
And if you thought the aggression factor wasn't high before, it has been turned up 10 times. Like 10 laps, it's going to be absolute pandemonium here at Texas Motor Speedway. As we get ready to go green, they are going to they're going to give it their all. And you're going to see it all. And you may have noticed there hasn't been a Shano FX overdrive tonight. No, that's because there's been so much action, so much commentary necessary that we are just on the edge of our seats here. There is nothing
Absolutely.
nothing that we could take a break for.
Absolutely. And though we have not had the opportunity for an overdrive, we do want to show some love to our sponsor, Shano FX, sponsoring 3Wide TV's overdrive segments. Again, thanks to them. And again, check them out. They make some quality stuff. So lights are going to go off on the pace car again. And hopefully it's actually going to be 1 degree in the summer. I'm not entirely sure why the caution was extended last time, but it was extended. That's why we ended up going around again. But we should be good this time. It looks like it's not going to be extended. And again, it is going to come down to just a little over 5 minutes of driving, the longest 5 minutes in the world for some of these drivers as they make the final 10 laps. And it's going to be quite a show. Looks like Matthew Gaskins is going to be getting a free pass, I believe. He's right behind the pace car. He may actually be starting second. I'm actually not entirely sure what the situation is there with Gaskins, but oh, okay. So Gaskins stayed out, so he is actually. Oh boy, that's
A bit of a little bit of strategy playing out here.
All right, that's gonna be interesting. That'll be interesting, seeing if Gaskins can hold on to it. Maybe he used up his tires at some point, as our producer's kind of pointing out in our ear. They did have a very limited selection of tires, so maybe he came on pit road at some point, used them up. We're going to find out. But the pace car is off for this single file restart, and it's going to be Matthew Gaskins out and away, but a little bit of wheel spin on those older tires, as well as some damage holding him back. That's going to allow number 9 of Jonathan Delaney to make a move down below. And back to the lead goes Delaney with Gaskins to the high side. And it seems like the number 10 of Robert Miller is going to slip into second, followed by Bryson Hicksonbaugh. I believe the 79 had to have used up his tires there. I don't think he really wanted to stay out, Ashton. He was very courteous. He got out of everybody's way right there on those older tires, and maybe he really didn't need to. But it was a very courteous move, and I think it was just a result of him using up his tires a little early.
Yep, absolutely. As we have a 3-car breakaway for the lead here, almost 3 wide. Bryson deciding to, but there goes the 10 on the high side. John Delaney said hugging the bottom was going to be the way to go, but 10 might get it done here. He's trying to use those fresh tires while he's still got them.
Oh, and a little bit of contact. Delaney did not want to be pinched going into 3 and 4.
Absolutely. These guys, like we said, the aggression factor there, and I can't help but think that somebody's getting the bumper on this next in the next few laps, maybe possibly on the last lap. We keep going here, and it is Robert Miller not out of it yet. He is drafting back up to them. A door by the 9 there going into 3 and 4. I can't help but think he's going to remember that as we get to the final lap of this race. He's going to say, well, he raced me that way, I'm going to race him that way. There's nothing on the line here, no penalties, just good hard racing, and it's exciting. The excitement and tension is building. I can feel it. Andre, I think we're gonna be screaming by the end of this.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, somebody getting the bumper on the last lap. I'm not sure if there's been a lap where these guys haven't gotten the bumper. They have been so close.
That is a good point. That's a good point. There, these cars, the noses have been. I feel like they've been reinforced because they've just been bumping
Oh,
the heck out of each
contact!
other.
Delaney
Oh
sideways!
man, he gathered the 10 gonna capitalize on that. The 9 not really. Robert Miller had the fastest lap last time. By the way, he is the fastest car on track. Has been most of the night at 28.925.
Well, Delaney said he was going to play defense, and he is playing defense. Bryson got to his rear bumper, gave him a little bit of a tap, and the number 9 was, even though he was sideways, he was able to gather it up. And now that allowed Robert Miller to get around him, as now we have a caution.
Oh, man.
And this is going to be leading us into a green-white checkered, I believe, Ashton, because the caution laps will count for this last 10-lap segment. So we're going to be going into a GWC, I believe.
Replay on your screen right now. You are correct about the green-white checkered. Caldwell, just off pace there in the tri-oval. Ryan Samuelson, nowhere to go really. Cars behind him, car in front of him. Just got into him and sent him up loose into the wall going into turn 1. Just unfortunate. Cameron Caldwell, definitely not happy about that one, but honestly just a racing deal at that point. But I believe you are right, Andre. We are going to do green-white checkered here. I tell you, if I could describe this race, I think Adam Benefiel summed it up best in his interview. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And that's what we're going to see here tonight for this finish for our All-Star race.
Absolutely agree. It's going to be quite a show. And again, I think this caution's a little frustrating for Delaney because I feel like his car maybe isn't as quick on the jump as Benefiel, or I'm sorry, not Benefiel, as Robert Miller and Bryson Hixenbaugh. It seems like those guys, for the first 2 laps on those cold tires, have a little bit more pace, and it's just a frantic defensive game that it makes the number 9 play. When he's got these guys behind him, they're just so much faster on these short runs. Whereas the number 9 comes to life on the long run, which, again, we're going into green-white checkered. He's going to have to rely on his defensive abilities and how much he can block reasonably. But, man, he's already had some close calls blocking like he has, Ashton. I mean, that situation with Bryson easily could have been the end of his night right there. And, of course, when he got into the door of the number 10, Robert Miller, that also could have been the end of his night. Just a lot of close calls and a lot of intensity out of that number 9.
Absolutely, and all these guys staying out up front, not wanting to give the track position, but how about Jason S. Taylor? He is pitting right now, getting fresh tires. He'll have the freshest tires in the field. I know we don't have a lot of laps on these tires, but that could be all the difference. I mean, tires have definitely played an important factor here at Texas. Not just in the All-Star race, but in the Open as well. We saw the fresh tires were the way to go. They do matter here, and you gotta wonder, is this gonna be an underdog situation? We see the All-Star Open guy fly by these guys in such a short amount of laps. It would be impressive to say the least, but I think John Delaney there is definitely going to be driving out of his rearview mirror. He's definitely not making friends tonight around the 10 and the 63, but I don't think he cares at this point.
No, absolutely not. I don't think this All-Star race was ever about making friends. I think a lot of it was
Definitely not.
just about trying to do as well as you can. Trying to get out here, lead some laps, make some money, have some fun. That's what it's all about. Make some enemies along the way. Well, I'd say I think some of these drivers are going to be maybe a little bit more lenient about what happens with this race. It is only for money and pride. It's not for points or anything relating to the overarching season. So I feel like any rivalries formed here probably wouldn't carry on very far. At least I would hope. But this is going to be interesting. Look at Ryan Samuelson in that number 16. And again, I keep saying every race how much he's improved over this season, and what a win that would be. Come from the second row here on this restart and maybe be able to get a win. We're going to have to find out. But we're going to go green with 4 to go. It'll be 3 to go when we cross the line. So not a proper green-white checkered, actually, as the pace car prepares to make that hard left turn. There it goes. Bryson lagging behind the field. And the control car, Delaney, is going to get on that loud pedal, and he's going to try to sail it as far away from that number 10 and the number 63 as he can get. And knowing this drafting package, Ashton, I don't think that's going to be very far.
Definitely not. The 10's going to try to drop down here. Ryan Samuelson in his way, though, so he's going to have to deal with the high side for now. Bryson Hicksonbaugh solidly in second for now, but he's drawing on the number 9. He's drafting up to him. Number 9 just seems to be struggling with 3 and 4 here as opposed to 1 and 2, and maybe he's got that car set up for to make the most momentum out of that. Coming out of 2, going down the back straightaway, as we see the 63 is right on his bumper now. Robert Miller actually dropping back to 4th, almost 5th now. You gotta wonder, it's still anybody's race though. I don't think this is over until the very last lap, as we have 2 to go.
And we are going to come to the Our Public Still Contender Subs on sale.com white flag of the All-Star race. And it's going to be Bryson Hicksonbaugh trying to look low on Delaney. He gets to the quarter panel. Does he bump him? He does. There's a little bit of contact, but both drivers are able to hold onto it. They're going to be, oh no, not side by side coming down the backstretch. The 63 falls back. Now back to the bottom of the track. Delaney's going to have to try to work that high side. Can the 63 send it deep enough? Contact to the door panel. Side by side, coming out of 4. Who's it going to be for the All-Star race? They're door slamming. Delaney spins. The 63 has made in contact, and Robert Miller crashes.
Gosh, I believe Robert Miller got it. Unbelievable. They are a pile up everywhere. Absolutely
Robert
correct.
Miller crashing across the line, wins by 600.
Absolutely crazy. 2 cars
600
sideways. Going through the trial, absolutely crazy. Watching the 9 and the 63 both turn left, drifting to the line. The 63 collects the 10, who's capitalizing on it, and he goes flying through the infield, but he's already passed the line, and it counts as a win.
Absolutely. Nobody said you ever had to get across the line on the track. That transponder loop goes all the way down to pit road, baby. So Robert
Honestly,
Miller.
These are the kind of finishes here that you see at like Talladega Superspeedway, but here we are at Texas Motor Speedway.
And Gaskins committing manslaughter to the door panel of Delaney.
Crazy.
That was a hard hit.
It was anybody's race, and honestly, I thought if those 3 didn't make it, Samuelson was right there. It was, oh man.
Man, that is such a fitting end to tonight's
Robert
event.
Miller. Robert Miller with a blown engine can't do a burnout, not enough power, but he has enough to stop it right at the line. That'll be a great interview for sure between the top 3. Oh man, what a race from start to finish. It's been nothing but excitement. We knew it was going to happen. We knew they were going to be beat and banging into the line, but nobody could have expected a finish like that.
Not at all. That was quite a show, and again, I think that was the only way this race could have ended. With as crazy and chaotic as this has been, that was the only way for this show to end. And Bryson flipping and tumbling after the event there, but we're going to try to get to some post-race interviews. Before we do that, let's go ahead and go over our final finishing order. Robert Miller obviously taking the win in dramatic fashion by 0.06 of a second over Bryson Hicksonbaugh. And Bryson, I'm sure, I don't think anybody in the top 3 is probably too upset with that finish. I think they're all just having a good time, and they all realize what a chaotic finish that was. But Jonathan Delaney bringing it home 3rd. Ryan Samuelson with an impressive P4 finish. It's going to be Dustin Hall with a wounded horse. Very, very damaged car he brought home to 5th. So great job for Dustin Hall to bring that thing home in the top 5. Mason Lowry P6. Jason S. Taylor not quite being able to make use of those fresh tires, bringing it home at P7. Last car on the lead lap, Matthew Gaskins in 8th, and from there, we've got all of the cars that were laps down or had previously DNF'd. Starting with Cameron Caldwell 4 laps down, RJ Root behind him, Derek Castor, Damar Sickenbottom, Adam Benefield, Cody Bird, Kevin Steele, and we're not going to forget him, Cameron Stone, 49 laps down. But again, what a race. We don't have any drivers in the waiting room, so I guess we're going to have to pull them down by force. I want to start out with our race winner. Normally we go from third up to first, but I feel like this is one of those situations where we got to hear his thoughts in the moment. So I'm going to bring him down here if we can. And Robert Miller, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Robert, you did it. I don't know how you did it, but you did it. That was such an incredible finish. We were watching Jonathan Delaney and Bryce Nixonbod door slam, and the whole time they were going through 3 and 4, I knew you were right there, and you were waiting to strike. And luckily for you, that transponder loop goes all the way down to pit road, because you spun across that line in the infield, and you're going home a little bit richer.
I'm sitting there dying the whole time, just laughing. I'm like, it's going to be bad when we get there. And Dalton's sitting there like, they're going to wreck. I'm like, I agree. They're going to destroy this thing. Oh, my God. That was funny.
Not even enough power to do a burnout there at the end. The engine was blown, was it not?
Oh, she was dead. Just barely enough to put her around there at 40 miles an hour. I'm like, it's all I got. But, it's worth it. I almost hit Dustin on the Prix lap coming back around because I was laughing too hard. I was crying and everything. That was funny.
Absolutely fantastic. You had a sharp-looking car out there tonight, Robert. You made that high side work a lot better than anybody else out there. We said it was not impossible to pass here except for on the bottom. It's really difficult, but you made it look easy. How'd you do that?
Just the work in the aero. The new aero really messes with cars now. Side force and front downforce and all that stuff. Having somebody on your outside really messes with your side force and makes you really loose because that side force keeps your back end in line. So if you take it away, he's just going to go around, or he's just going to get really tight either or, and that's what happens. Sure, a couple times I was going to the outside, John looked like got really tight because he was already really tight by himself, and he kept door slamming me, which I knew it wasn't on purpose. He ran it clean, just like I was running just like I was doing to him. So there's no ill will there for him to me. Yeah, just hard racing is all that was for 50 laps. That was fun. I don't want to do this every week because my heart can't take it. My eyes can't take it. So I'm crying so much right now. I'm laughing. But yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Robert, obviously this wasn't a points race. It doesn't really have much of a bearing on the overarching season. But you're riding a wave right now, Robert. You won this race. You won the All-Star race. You won Sonoma before this. I would have to think that you're going into the next weekend with quite a bit of confidence.
What is next weekend? Kentucky or
not a clue.
Nashville? Oh yeah, no, it's Kentucky. It's Kentucky.
Yeah,
I swear,
sure,
right, Adam?
Yeah.
We'll see. It's a new track that nobody's really raced on, so we'll see what Nashville brings us. But yeah, well, hopefully I can keep this momentum up and keep digging.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your dramatic win. Before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to shout out or thank?
James Mullins, he's my setup builder with me. He helps me build stuff for the Coke series for Nexus, and he helped me out this week a little bit, helped me find some more space out of it. It looked like I definitely had one of the better cars with me and Benefield for sure. I had to do a quick adjustment during that heat race. Once I saw how my car behaved that first heat, once we went into pits for a reset, basically, I did a little adjustment and the car came to life for the last 50 laps, and it was just beautiful from there. So yeah, I need a minute.
Yeah, I think we all do after that one. That race was just constant action. There was never a lull. I don't think we didn't have a single overdrive or break or anything like that. It was just too much action all the time. And that was quite a show. But,
that was action-packed to say the least.
Yeah, that's the understatement of the century. But thanks for your time, Robert. Congratulations on the win, and hopefully we're talking to you next week.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one. I'll see you soon. Yeah, I got
too.
$40 in my name now. Woo!
Heck yeah.
What? I got Wally World Bucks?
Heck yeah. All right, Robert. We'll put you back in your team chat. We're going to get to the runners-up who maybe aren't quite as elated as you are.
No, if I was Bryson, I'd be laughing my butt off. But we'll see.
Yeah, I would imagine. All right, buddy. Thanks again.
Bye, guys.
That was your race winner.
Absolutely.
Robert Miller.
Great interview there.
Absolutely. We're going to bring in our runner-up, Bryson Hicksonbaugh. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Bryson, that was definitely not where you wanted to finish, but I feel like with as action-packed as that race was, there was only one way for this All-Star race to come to a close, and I feel like cars tumbling and flipping over the start-finish line was probably pretty apt for this event. Walk me through what happened at the end of that race there.
Well, a couple laps to go. I get clear of Robert and start chasing him down. I know that John is better than me in 1 and 2, but I can get the run in 3 and 4. And if I can just stay close out of 2, I'd have a shot at him. So I drove in there deep. I think I tried moving him both the last 2 laps. I didn't get the good run. And in that last lap, I sent it in there, and he sent it in there deep as well. And it just screwed up his run out of the corner, so I got to stay with him. Got to his inside going into 3, and he side drafted me like I would expect him to. And he gets the run back, and I doored him like he should expect me to because we're racing for the win. He can be upset about it all he wants, but he spun me at Richmond. I doored him here. That's how racing goes.
All right. Well, talking about the end of that race there, like you said, a lot of aggression, a lot of back and forth. You know, you tried to move him, he doored you, and of course a little bit of payback for Richmond maybe. Do you think this rivalry goes any further, or do you think what happens at the All-Star race stays at the All-Star race?
Well, I consider us square now, even if I didn't win this race by causing that wreck with him. But it's whatever. He's gonna be mad at it because he's not gonna see it the same way I do. He thinks Richmond was an accident, and he thinks this is gonna be intentional. And I see them both as one of us wrecking the other.
All right. Well, again, I probably not exactly where you want to finish, but we do want to congratulate you on the second place finish and just overall the fun show that you and everybody else put on. Before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to shout out or thank?
Yeah, thank my sponsor, Hugger Oranges. Brought a special scheme here. This is the same template that I ran all of last year. I brought it back this season for the All-Star race. Thought it'd be fun to throw it back to last year. And went pretty well tonight. Almost got there, but glad we got plenty of screen time, though, at the front.
Absolutely. All right. Again, congratulations on your podium finish, and hopefully we're talking to you next week.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Bryson Hicksonbaugh out of the booth. And now, Ashton, it's time for our final interview. Third place
Should
finisher.
be an interesting one for sure.
I'd be inclined to agree. I agree. So we're gonna bring him down. Jonathan Delaney, you got a copy? You got a copy, John?
Yes, I do.
Well, John, not the way you probably wanted this race to finish, but it was absolutely chaotic. Just a lot of contact, a lot of door slamming, and a very close finish at the end. Walk me through it.
Well, I'm honestly surprised that I made it through the first 15 laps without, being killed, working way up through the field. But we worked our way through the field pretty fast, safely. And then after that first caution, I think I got to the lead. I'm not positive, but I know I got to the lead once, and then I kind of choked it. I just messed up in one of the turns, and I was battling hard with Bryson and Robert, all night. Eventually I got the lead there towards the end, coming to like 10 to go or so. I thought if it would have went green, I think we would have been fine. Then on that restart, I chose the outside. I got a good jump, and then the draft is just so strong here that it's like almost 2/10 a lap, and Bryson was able to get to my inside going into 3. We were side by side into 3. I was able to stay on his door, and I kind of pulled him back off the exit of the run, and he just pretty much just wrecked me on the front stretch.
Yeah, it was definitely a crazy situation. A lot of different perspectives on what happened, but I gotta ask. It was a lot of contact, and like you said, 63 made quite the aggressive play at the end of that race, and really kicked off the wreck that was was across the line there. Does this rivalry go any further, do you think? Or does what happens during the All-Star race just kind of stay in the All-Star race?
I don't know. When you race people, you always really remember it. Whether it's good or bad. And I had I think one encounter with Bryson this year, and that was at Richmond. But I know I other than that, I've raced him really clean this year. It's not like I wrecked him big for the win. It's just a tight little bump out of in 3 and 4 that was totally my mistake. It was just wasn't on purpose at all. And I mean, there still was 150 laps of the race left when I did that. So, I think he still got second out of it. So, it definitely won't be forgotten. I had a lot of fun racing Robert. You gain a lot of respect for some people, and sometimes, you gain a lot of disrespect for some people. So.
Yeah, it's racing. Sometimes things fluctuate, things happen, and of course that was a very dramatic finish. So definitely interesting to hear your perspective on everything, and the other drivers involved, their perspectives we've interviewed. But regardless, you did come home third. You're on the podium, and you're going home a little bit richer. You won the first 2 segments, so made yourself some money along the way. And even though it's a frustrating third place finish, I'm sure it's still relatively good day, and it allows you to carry a little bit more momentum going into an actual points race next week. So congratulations on that podium finish, John. And before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to shout out or thank?
Yeah, thank the admins for putting on this race. Had some fun. Everyone that raced, I enjoyed watching the Open All-Star race, watching people drive their way in. That was fun. I enjoyed racing Robert there. We were all really fast all night. I enjoyed racing him. And I enjoyed racing Bryson too. I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting this. I'm sure I'm going to go back and watch it for sure. Let's see, Kevin Steele for the paint scheme. Let's see, everyone at Great Lakes Motorsports for their work. And shout out to grandparents, Tanya, Bob watching, my parents, brother, all them. And yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Again, congratulations on the podium, and hopefully we're talking to you next week, John.
I hope so. Thank you, guys.
That was your third place finisher, Jonathan Delaney, out of the booth, and that is just about going to do it for our post-race coverage of the All-Star race. Ashton, I feel like we both have a lot of thoughts about this race, but I got to ask, what are some of your post-race thoughts here?
Honestly, it was everything we expected it to be and more. Honestly, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better All-Star race. I can only hope that the in real life All-Star race at Texas tomorrow for the Cup drivers is just as exciting as this one, because if it isn't, I mean, 100% Cup Series, they really set the bar tonight. A lot of good talent on display, like it is every week, but a lot of crazy strategies and hard racing. Maybe a little harder than normal because there's no consequences, but it'll be interesting to see how there's some hurt feelings out there. It's going to be interesting to see how next week's race goes between some of these guys, or how the talks on Monday are going to be between all the drivers when they head back to the shops.
Absolutely. I got to agree with everything you said there. All right. That is going to do it for our post-race coverage. I've been Andre Grambush for 3 Wide TV alongside Ashton Hartman and producer Carlos Acosta. We want to thank everybody for tuning in to this exciting event here at Texas Motor Speedway. And we want to remind you to tune in next week for a points race at, I believe, Nashville, which is going to be very, very interesting because it is a track that none of these guys are really familiar with. So it's going to be a bit of a blind side and a learning experience. Going to be a very fun event to broadcast. So again, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next week.